been injured in an accident, one thing leads to another. Your injury leads to treatment. Treatment leads to hospital bills. Bills lead to debt. Debt leads to stress. The advocates can help relieve that stress. Having an advocate attorney on your side leads to faster resolutions, fair outcomes, and a peaceful recovery for you. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show live on Wednesday, August 6, 2025. A pleasant good afternoon to you. As always, we are presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, 24/7, 365. You can chat with an injury attorney live online. Won't cost you a dime because you never pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. So have you been in a car accident? Did you get hurt at work? Oh, that's the worst, right? And then you got to rely on your company to pay you and make sure that you're made whole physically. No, my friends. Don't rely on your company. Don't rely on your insurance company. Rely on the advocates. They've been there. They've done that. They fought the fight that you are going to fight. Hand the advocates the claims process so you can get healthy. Hook it up today, 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. A lot to get to today. Appreciate everybody logging in early. I'd like to take a second just to acknowledge the tough day that Mountain Mama's having. Apparently, he's pissed off and he doesn't want to be bothered. So let's just go ahead and make sure that everybody pays tribute to Mike Smith. And we hope you got all that coal clean in the backyard. You know, like, Michael, I hope that you're okay. When Mike's in a bad mood, nobody wins, right? Jesse Crum, stuck in bed for a month post-surgery, looking forward to the showgram. What the hell did you do to yourself? Hope you're all right. TJ Beck, does Monty go back-to-back black on his polo today? No, we went, I don't even know what the pattern, this is like alcohol, because I'm such a drunkard.
Yeah.
This is alcohol, but I can wear black tomorrow if that's what everybody wants. People generally ride me. That probably came out wrong, but people generally give me a bunch of crap over wearing black too much. Big Blue Horses, hello. The awkward guy says, Monty, now that Jake is out of the office, why not invite James for a special guest appearance? See, you say that, and then James might hear it, and then it's going to be like, oh, hey, I could go shoot the IPF at Utah, and I'll just stop by and say hello.
It's why. Why would you?
Why? Love Muscle, hello to you. Oh, boy, there's Oak State James. I'm in Texas, and I love it here. Besides, Jake is doing a great job. Nobody said to have you replace him. But, I mean, listen, we could do a live show from the rectory. I'd love to do a guest spot and talk Big 12 football just one time for like 20 minutes. You won't even talk about wait. We're supposed to have you on the show. And see, this is what happens when you hyenas show up and you start making suggestions. Nobody asked you for your suggestions, right? Like, now I've got James talking about how he wants to talk football. You won't even talk about the Walmart manager. You had your chance.
You came on, you tried to, and you ran on for like 10 minutes, and then we made all these discoveries about your last divorce, which is like your second divorce, which we didn't even know about.
Come on. No, the awkward guy, I'm not welcome. This is your fault. This is your fault. You did this, not me. I'm not the one who did this. Hey, y'all. Hey, Shouty. Charlotte 49er John. Missed live show yesterday. Watched the replay. Oak State James is never invited to Eastern Carolina, North Carolina ever again. Yeah, North Carolina hates you, Oak State James. You know. TJ Beck, James doesn't want to talk Big 12 football. He wants to talk about their facilities.
Yeah,
exactly right. But won't talk about the Walmart manager who he's paying alimony to. That's the worst part of it. Not only did you get hosed because the Walmart manager was unfaithful to you, you paid her to be unfaithful.
Look at this, and now he's running out of the chat. Look at this next comment. He's running out of. I have group at 4 p.m. I'm sure you do, James.
I'll be back.
I'm sure you do.
Is that a threat? Are you threatening us that you're going to be back? Jaco, he says that, hey, we'll be over at 6. Is that a threat? Right? OTC Mapes. You're over-the-counter Mapes. From Lake Tillery, North Carolina, warmest water I've boated on. Okay. Don't pee in the lake. And donuts, Honda Civics and TCU football. Right? Like, come on. That explains the Civic, James. Exactly.
Precisely.
Monty cover 69. Nice. Well, but it's fine. Last one on this, because then we got to get rolling. Oak State James Group. James and his Monty puppet closed the blind.
Wow, bro. Wow, bro.
Imagine you go to because I don't know, what is he doing, like a 12-step program for people in like Austin or wherever the hell he lives, and they're like, oh yeah, here we are, James and Monty puppet here helping you fight addiction. No, if you show up at an AA meeting and Monty puppet's there, I don't know what you do about that.
You might want to leave.
I think you just run for the hills. I think that's all you do. Hey, as we sit here right now, I may have found my first fat guy medicine side effect.
Oh, boy.
And that is that I've been thirsty all day.
Okay, so it started, quick update, then we'll get to it, but you had started last night, correct?
I took my Zepbound shot last night. Well, I didn't take it. Mrs. Monty delivered it.
She injected you.
Honestly, it feels like nothing. There's no pain. You don't even feel it. It's weird.
Right.
But yeah, and it's nothing. I have felt nothing. I haven't had like appetite suppression, nothing. I've eaten really well today, but it's not like I've been hungry or haven't been hungry, or I feel totally normal. I do have a low grade headache, and I am a little scratchy, but I live in Utah where the air quality is ass.
Yeah.
So it's not good, but so that could easily be what it is, but we'll see. We'll talk all the amount of hate and irrational Tony Fauci bombs that I got on my TikTok today and on YouTube about the fact that I'm taking a Zepbound, a GLP-1. How on earth do we go from Zepbound to, oh, dude, you're a sheep? Like,
you're a sheep.
It's amazing to me. Yeah, it could have been a hot beef injection. I mean, it's got the microchip in it apparently. Like, what do you guys are irrational. But, I'll never understand. And again, this is just my opinion. I will never understand why can't you just look at science and be normal for like one MFing time in your life? Why can I not get a shot of something that doesn't involve Tony Fauci? Right? Like, I mean,
it doesn't fit the narrative. That's why it doesn't fit the narrative.
And there's just no reason for it. There's just no reason for it. Anyway, here nor there is what it is. We'll talk about that coming up on the show, but I do want to get to this story on the Big Ten and the SEC closing in on a deal. And I originally started working on this because I wanted to more understand the governance component that we talked about on the show yesterday that gave the power conferences a 65% voting weight in all major decisions on the D1 Council. And it's very interesting to me that as I was having these conversations, one thing became very clear. The Big Ten and the SEC have apparently reached a deal. I was told today by multiple sources that the SEC and the Big Ten, Tony Petitti, did know that there was all this talk about how Tony Petitti was going to have to bend the knee and completely compromise. And that apparently is not the case, as Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti have had extensive conversations over the last week that resulted in a pretty good understanding of where the two conferences are headed, and they seem to be headed in the right path. Greg Sankey, I am told, has made it very clear that he is not opposed in any way, shape, or form to playing 9 SEC conference games, but the argument has never been about conference games. It has been about the number of P4 opponents that power conference teams are willing to schedule. Greg Sankey's attitude is you need to play 10 P4 games a year. And that's apparently been one of the biggest rifts, not only with Tony Petitti, but also with Jim Phillips in the ACC, who has been very, very hesitant to agree to any minimum number of Power 4 games on a schedule. But as we now move forward, because this governance thing yesterday that gave the power conferences 65% of the vote, what does that really tell you, though? Well, what it did is hand the Big Ten and the SEC an overwhelming amount of power because they already control the college football playoff. So essentially what their vision is what is going to happen. And it's a matter of who's on board and who's not. And it is very clear here that Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey have, it feels like now, after talking to people familiar with the situation, resolved a lot of the differences that had been dividing them. I think this is absolutely the right direction to go, which is 10 power games, because, Jake, I don't see any need to play 3 or as many as 4 gimme payday games on your schedule.
Yeah, I don't see the point of it. I mean, if we're going to sit here and have a conversation about, like, who's got the toughest schedule, which conference every year has, the most bubble teams that don't get in, I think the trouble is that, as usual, the SEC plays the more difficult schedule. So they're not scared to sit in front of Tony Petitti and say, yeah, like, hey, we're our bar is 10 power games a year. Like, you can sit here and talk to us about, 9 conference games and, these different measures and bars that you want us to meet. But the reality is we're already playing a more difficult schedule, and you need to kind of get on board with that. And we need to level. And I also think there's a proponent to the conversation of like, hey, we need to get on with getting on here. Like, at some point we need to just get on the same page that this is the bar that we all need to be reaching, which obviously, again, is 10 power games a year. And hey, if you want to play 11, I know there's been a ton of talk about, a handful of teams that played 11. Okay, cool. Knock yourself out. But I just think that ultimately, we're obviously trending towards the college football playoff being decided on the field. I think that's what everybody wants. But until we get that solution, this is sort of the bridge to kind of get there and make sure that everyone's on the same page. So we don't, come selection time, we don't have to do, hey, well, Bama played 9 and you played 8 and, Ohio State played 10. We can all play 10. It's all level. And it just literally comes down to wins and losses and ultimately strength of opponent.
Well, the interesting part of that is I was also told that the SEC and the Big Ten have come to an understanding, if you will, on the playoff structure and how to move forward with that. And I think one of the things that's so important is that indeed the Big Ten and the SEC, and I think the power conferences in general, are in lockstep that they want to take human beings out of it. I think after the disaster of last year, and after the laughing stock that Ward Manuel at Michigan turned himself into with his Penn State and Ohio State motives that were very clear, I think the interesting bit of irony is that galvanized the rest of the P4, especially the conference commissioners, including Tony Petitti, by the way, of the Big Ten, into this idea that human beings have to be taken out of the equation. Because I don't think there's any doubt that what we saw Ward Manuel do last year was absolute debauchery. Nobody agreed with him. Nobody was on board with him. The idea that Ward Manuel simply threw out strength of schedule and strength of opponent to make sure that, or what he thought was making sure that Ohio State had to travel the most difficult road and that Epstein U had the easiest road. Well, flip the script. It turns out that's not exactly what happened. And Ohio State, as I say all the time, went on to win what is arguably the most difficult college football championship we've ever seen. It backfired immensely. And I think now, as you zoom forward here, and we're in August, you're looking at a situation now where the Power 4 commissioners are in lockstep, that you have to take humans out of it. And there has to be a standardized formula where, hey, you do this, you get in. And if there are tiebreakers, They have a system on paper anyway that I think will likely begin the process of instituting, where you have tiebreakers in place. I think this is exactly what needs to happen. And it is very interesting if you read what this governance change meant. Here is the actual writing of it from ESPN.com. When you see the Southeast Conference has been pushing the other three power conferences to receive a 17% voting share on the newly reshaped D1 board of directors. And I think it is a very, very interesting move, because you read that next line. If one of the four conferences disagreed with the proposal, the other could still band together to pass it with 51% of the vote. So if you have Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey in lockstep, you're going to get what those two want. That's what this says. And you look at the last paragraph, the D1 board deals with finances, litigation, and infractions unrelated to conditions set in the $2.8 billion antitrust settlement that allows schools to pay players as of July 1st. What this is telling you is that the SEC and the Big Ten, as long as they are in lockstep, have the overwhelming control of the future of college football. And I don't think that's surprising to anybody. And in my opinion, one of the biggest parts of this was also my sources telling me today that the Power Four commissioners have in fact been in contact with Donald Trump, and they are working on this new entity that will include athlete compensation. And I think one of the other interesting stories, and this is something that really got me pushing forward and talking to people that I know, was this whole idea of unionizing college football players, and this whole idea of making sure that they have, essentially what comes down to union type protections to afford them the ability to leverage their name, image, and likeness to make a living. And whether that living ever happens in professional sports doesn't matter. What the movement is to make sure if you're a college football player, that you have the ability to get compensated, while at the same time the universities, the conferences, and the NCAA get compensated as well. Jake, I just think it all makes sense, and you're seeing all these big moves come together, and we may be at a point where all these rivers connect and we're all flowing downstream in the same direction now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the thing here that really stands out to me is you kind of have these two situations running parallel to each other. You have the president, and the new entity, and that sort of conversation working alongside, Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti getting back on the same page with, how we're going to determine the CFP and, what is that baseline for competition level and things like that. And it's all sort of working towards a new entity happening. And I think, we've been talking about it on this show for, it must be, at least a year, if not longer, about how college football is slowly but surely, trudging towards a new entity for the Power Four to govern themselves and to frankly create a better playoff system. Because the other thing that needs to be said here, is I do believe, certainly it's my opinion, that we would be better in a situation where it's all decided on the field, it's all laid out, we know what these teams are playing for, we know what's on the line. Instead of it being, well, you're playing for a spot in the top 12, and then we're going to kind of see like where we go from there. And it's all decided by a committee that, like you said, last year was completely biased. So to me, I just think that college football is not in a bad place, but I think the problem is that there's so much happening, once politicians and Congress and courtrooms and all that start getting involved, I think people get a little bit confused on what the end goal here is. And I truly believe that everyone's end goal is simply to just simplify the whole conversation. I want to know what these two teams are playing for. I want to know, what a kid's story was, what the impact on the game is, what we just want to be able to put that together easier. And I feel like it's very complicated right now. And it just doesn't need to be. And again, the single biggest problem is that there are so many schools involved in college football that you have to create a new entity. And creating that new entity is no easy task and is difficult, which, lastly is why I think you're seeing everyone kind of line up to this 2030 sort of, not a deadline, but just a timeline, because I think that's kind of the presumed working, pace of like, hey, we're going to have something by then. So if you're doing a TV deal right now, like, I don't know, like we said yesterday, the Mountain West or otherwise, I think that's what everyone's focused on.
I think that what everybody is, and I agree with this point. One of the guys I was talking to today that works at a major entity was telling me that it all feels like there's a lot of chaos and it all feels like there's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
But there's not really. What you're looking at is two guys in Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey who had a disagreement over what a structure of a schedule should look like as long as individual conferences remain in college football. And I think when you look at what that means, and when you look at where we're going here, you are looking at a brand new thing. College football is going to be pulled out of the NCAA. It is going to be governed by a different set of rules and laws that I think are going to mirror the antitrust protections that the National Football League gets. I think you look at how important it is that these Power Four commissioners are indeed, and I am told have been regularly in touch with the White House after this executive order came down. I'm told this executive order has absolutely no teeth to impact college football as it's written now, because it's essentially a proclamation that is being put into committees. What that did, I am told, is what that executive order did was kick off a process to form this new entity. That's really what this did, because it's going to put the powers that be in college football in touch with these committee members, which are your senators, your legislature, your, like the congressmen and the senators, the congress people and the senators that are going to make these decisions, but they're going to make those decisions in concert with the Power Four commissioners and representatives of the NCAA, which is exactly what you needed. You needed a conduit for conversation to happen. And if that's whatever this proclamation was from Donald Trump, if that's what this turns out to be, you have to tip your cap to the guy, because he's the one that got that going. But make no mistake about it, the governance ruling yesterday was just another formality of moving forward, giving the Big Ten and the SEC the ability to control college football at the highest levels. And I, frankly, and I know this is not going to be popular, I think it absolutely had to happen, because you put this many people in a room. And when we talk about who are the real people making these decisions, well, it's the Power Four commissioners. It is their presidents, their athletic directors, and their football coaches. This is not a small group of people. This isn't 8 to 10 dudes at a coffee table, playing Uno. This is hundreds of people that have to come together and find a path forward. And they have not been able to do that for 25 years, which is why we end up with a House settlement that works for almost nobody, frankly. And it's why you're seeing, all of these politicians, Donald Trump and many others, that want to legislate it, because I think people are tired of the perception that college football is out of control. I don't believe that it is. The people that I talk to in athletics and in college football and in college basketball don't feel like college football and basketball are out of control. What's out of control is all of the old heads who are trying to keep the system as it's always been. But you can't have it both ways. You want legislation and you want regulation, but you also want to suppress an athlete's ability to get themselves paid. The two do not jive. They don't work together. And I think that's why this proclamation from Donald Trump was a I'm not going to say a tipping point, but it moved Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey to kind of quicken their pace, have more important conversations, which I'm told they have now. And I think it's a very good thing for college sports.
Yeah, I mean, it's that classic situation of like, someone perceives something to be wrong. So they kind of step in and study for a minute and try to see if there's opportunity. Then they realize, well, hey, there's actually a lot of opportunity financially based on what these kids are getting paid. And then we get legislation to try to push things along. And then, or I shouldn't say legislation, the executive order to try to push things along. And then, yeah, Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey decide, hey, maybe it's in the best interest of everybody who's already involved for us to get on the same page and smooth this out a little bit.
Yes.
And that's where I say, like, you know, the posturing that went down with Sankey and Yormark versus Tony Petitti, and by extension, but not as much Jim Phillips, I just thought was fascinating because, you know, the problem always had been that Tony Petitti was dying on this 4-4-2-2-1 auto bid hill.
Yes.
And there was no reason for him to do that, in my opinion, because again, every year the Big Ten's already getting, you know, between 2 and 3 teams in already, right? You're already getting, like, last year you got a mediocre ass Indiana team in that only got in because of their record, not because of who they played, not because everyone thought they were a great team. And it's unfortunate that ultimately last year's college football playoff was built in a way to favor the Big Ten and not the SEC. And I'm not sitting here certainly saying that the SEC should have, you know, some huge advantage or favorability, but it's got to be even on some level. And I think there's nobody.
Why is it so outlandish to say that the SEC has that? They not earned that?
I mean, yeah, they've earned it. They've won enough games, but I think just on face value, like if you're putting a, you know, what amounts to a tournament at the end of the football season together to decide your national champion, I mean, of course you want it to be as level as possible. Like it should just be, hey, like, who did you play? You know, obviously, what's your record? Who did you play? You know, that formula that we all know and love. But the problem is it goes one step further when you have humans evaluating it. So my point is that the Big Ten and the SEC are in this place where you have Tony Petitti, before, you know, the story we're talking about today, in a place where he's like trying to defend the Big Ten schedule and trying to say that they play like a super difficult schedule, and all of it's just all this posturing. And the reality is that the college football playoff, whether it's perceived to be difficult to understand or not, or whether people think college football is in a bad spot or not, it needs to get to a point where someone who knows nothing about college football, knows nothing about the teams, can turn the TV on and say, yep, if this team wins, they're going here, there, and the other, and make it super easy. And I think once you get to that place, you don't have these problems anymore.
I think this whole thing about the 5-11, and much to my own credit, I should point out, I've warned you about the 5-11 because I think one of the things I've been hearing a lot is that Tony Petitti's taken a lot of heat pushing him towards a 5-11 because it's what the other conferences are on board with. There's no question that outside of, you know, Mr. Ohio State and the jackwagons in the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12. I mean, you guys remember what Brett Yormark said about 5-11.
5-11 is fair. We want to earn it on the field. It might not be the best solution today for the Big 12, given your comments about AQs. But long term, knowing the progress we're making, the investments we're making, it's the right format for us. And I'm doubling down today on 5-11. And I know Jim Phillips will, and I'm sure some of the other conference commissioners will as well.
And how does he know that? Because they're all talking about it.
Yeah.
I've been telling you this for how long? These guys talk on a regular basis, weekly, if not daily. And you hear that. And I go back to what Greg Sankey, the Darth Overlord of college sports, was saying about quote unquote super conferences.
There is joy embedded in what we do, and we take pride in what was accomplished last year. Our first is a 16-member, what I think is a super conference. For all of those of you like to speculate about super conferences, welcome to one.
Do you think he's saying that accidentally? Is Greg Sankey a guy who's ever spoken off the top of his head or not been well scripted or accidentally Teresa Gould a speech? No.
Teresa Gould a speech,
Well,
bro?
you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, is Greg Sankey the guy that comes out and uses the word like Super League and I go back to what he said. Listen to Greg Sankey on the Triple Option podcast here.
I don't want to dumb down the Southeastern Conference to be part of some Super League notion of 70 teams that some people speculate would happen. They want to be us, and that's on them to figure it out, not on me to bring myself back to earth.
Has he changed that at all?
No.
And he has gone on repeatedly and said, we're not going to lower ourselves to you. You have to raise your bar to us. And I think when you talk about this 5'11 thing and you hear Brett Yormark talking about how the 5'11 is fair because it means we have to win it on the field, why is the Big Ten opposed to that? Well, the Big Ten's opposed to that because I think right now, Tony Petitti knows he can't compete on the field. I think number two, Tony Petitti's no longer opposed to a 5'11 because I also think he understands that the rest of his cohorts in the commissioner's chairs in the Power Four all want the 5'11 because Greg Sankey told them to. And I have warned you from the beginning, if it goes 5'11, the Southeastern Conference is going to dominate the college football playoff. Hell, they may well dominate it anyway. But when a 5'11 is codified, I think we'll only probably have it for 2 years because my true belief is, because don't forget what we're already talking about. We're already talking about the 2026 college football championship, right? If you look at where we are, that's going to be 12. 2027 is going to be 16. 2028 will be 16. And then I think at that latest time, because what also happens in 2028? Anybody? Yeah, it's an election year. And you start looking at where and when the landscape of these things changes. Donald Trump is the president that seemingly tries to fix all this stuff. Now, he really hasn't fixed anything in sports. We still don't have a Live Golf PGA thing. He hasn't really fixed anything.
Right.
But what he did with this proclamation was he got the ball rolling. I think you will see, before Donald Trump leaves office, you will see a new entity and a new version of the college football game, different than anything else that you've ever seen. And it was pointed out to me very interestingly, through his failure to acquire an NFL franchise, what did Donald Trump do? Well, he wound up changing the USFL, and his engagement in the USFL wound up pushing all of that back to the NFL. So he has experience in moving parties together, if you will, to make the best of to make the best of football. I think Donald Trump wants a legacy. And one of the major legacies I think he will claim is the overhaul of college football.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think Donald Trump is, his legacy already is the greatest steelmaker there ever was. That's always been his brand. That's what he's always tried to do. And I think this.
Well, that's his brand. I don't know that I would call that his legacy.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess that's fair. But I think that's what he would like to see. I think we can all agree on that. And I think that I don't know how much, obviously a lot, but like, it's difficult to say how much, Greg Sankey or Tony Petitti would consider 2028 in that timeline because of what's going to happen in the White House in their decision making and just how hard they're going to push for things or not push for things. But what I do know is that I think that part that you had brought up about like how college football is perceived right now, like a lot of people perceive college football to be a problem when it's really not a problem. Like there's just a couple, in my opinion, a couple of these core fundamentals that have to be just smoothed out because there's so many people talking about. Obviously, the way NIL works, I feel like people are still walking on eggshells with it. Like you've got the Texas Techs of the world who are just absolutely smashing and doing great business and doing what they can do to win and acquiring players and all of that, which is great. I have no hard feelings with that at all. I think that's what you should be doing right now. Yeah. But I think that the hard part is there's still, I feel like, this stigma of like, hey, like like how does NIL work and what's legal and what's not and what are we going to change? And like, so NIL is definitely one piece. Then you've got the CFP and the structure and, how wins and losses are evaluated on a schedule more than just who won or lost the damn football game. Like so to me, those are the two things. And then you pile on top Donald Trump and 2028 being an election year and a new president coming in because this is his second term already. So I just
allegedly.
I'm sure we'll get another executive order to cure cancer, but ultimately, I don't think college football is in a terrible spot when we're all sitting here absolutely pining for week 0 or week 1.
But I think one other point that I want to make about this Donald Trump thing, and I think, Jake, we talked about this, and you're obviously, as a slow adult, you may not have picked this up, but you may or may not have picked this up. But remember what I said. Donald Trump's proclamation is so far off the reservation.
Mm-hmm.
They have nothing. They can make no money. They're going to school. They're getting an education. Fuck them. Right? Like It was so opposite of the House settlement. The point was made to me that, well, that's a negotiating tactic.
Mm-hmm.
You have the House settlement here, you have the proclamation here, and the solutions in the middle. And I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And I think that might be why the again, executive order / proclamation was written the way it was written.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely contrasts. Clearly, I mean, there's clearly this dynamic of. And I'm not going to sit here. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say that Donald Trump wrote that proclamation executive order the way he did because he wanted to affect change that way. My opinion is I think that all he cares about is making money. That's like you want to talk about a legacy.
But isn't that why it's so odd that he stripped all of the money-making ability of athletes out? Like that you guys remember the executive order he wrote, remove the ability, Donald Trump's executive order, remove the ability of college athletes to make money as college athletes.
Yeah. My point is he did that because he's not concerned with them making money. He's concerned with folks his age making money, which would be the people who lead these universities and direct athletics and all of that, leadership at universities.
See, and we may disagree on this because I look at Donald Trump and the way that order was written, and I think it does smack to me as a negotiating position. It makes a lot of sense. I never thought about it that way.
And I agree with you on that. I mean, I agree with you. It's definitely a negotiating tact. The question is, what are you trying? What are you trying to negotiate on?
But I was talking to a collective guy here in Utah who made a really good point. Well, the old heads can make their money. There's not a kid on a football field in college football taking money out of the pocket of an old head. Well, that's exactly right. It's not like it's not like your boy at Texas Tech who's paying a softball pitcher over $1 million a year to win a national championship at Texas Tech. And Jake, how did that national championship go?
Yeah, I mean, it was her carrying the team.
Right? Okay. But did that take money out of Texas Tech's pocket? Did that take money out of their president, their regents, their football department, their bat? No.
Here's my thought though, and I don't even disagree with that. I don't disagree with the concept that hey, if Nigel Kennedy can get paid $1 million or more a year to be a dominant two-way player on the softball field, then that's great. Obviously, my thing is, and the reason that I say that this is about the old rich white hair, if you will, making more money is because right. I think that it's not necessarily about paying the player per se. It's more about how that money is funneled through the sport. Because ultimately what that executive order, and again, negotiating tactic, okay, let's suppose that it was written a certain way just for leverage. But the way that thing was written was basically to say, hey, kids aren't the kids aren't going to make money, and basically we're going to go back to the old school way of doing this, where you're on scholarship, and if you can get a deal worth a certain amount, like there was all these stipulations,
Right.
and I think that comes right out of if you remember when NIL started, everyone thought, okay, well, back in the day when it started, everyone was like, hey, well, NIL is going to be a kid can put their face on a t-shirt or do a partnership with a local auto dealership. I heard that a million times.
Yeah.
Local auto dealership, and they'll just get like $1,000 or $5,000 a month. We can't have pay to play under no circumstances. It has to be with a local business. And I think, in my opinion, what the executive order would do, if it was ever to be actually realized, is, hey, all those deals have to go through the school, and there's another added layer, which again we see some of that in the House settlement.
I think you look at what Donald Trump proposed. It makes too much sense that I don't think that's ever what he was hoping to get accomplished. I don't know. You're
I agree, it's pretty far out there. I mean, it is pretty far out there.
It really, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really far out there.
Yeah, it's out there.
So you're trying to rationalize the irrational, and there's no way to do that. The bottom line here is the Power Four commissioners, according to our sources today, if you're just tuning in, and I see everybody coming online, at the end of the day, the power conference commissioners have been in communication with the White House, and they are all working towards a new entity. The Big Ten and the SEC have come together and settled a big portion of their differences. And the Big Ten and the SEC are moving to install a playoff structure that includes a strict, rigid set of qualifications to make the college football playoff, that will have a heart and soul around strength of schedule and your schedule against other power conference opponents. And I think that's exactly what it has to be. And I think that this new entity we are probably 3 full football seasons. If you count 26, 27, and 28, I think we're 3 full football seasons away from seeing a new entity installed and executed. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Quite frankly, I don't know how you continue to play the game of college football without it. I think that is,
and I think one of the only big question marks left at that point, once they get all that figured out, is just the TV partner part of it. Obviously, we have stuff to talk about in that realm today, but I just think there's going to have to be hey, well, ESPN right now has obviously the biggest chunk in college football with the CFP, Big 12, SEC, ACC. And then, so there's just going to have to be, a massaging with the different partners, because in my opinion, ESPN and Fox to me are the two most enjoyable. I really miss the big time CBS SEC game now that that's not a thing anymore. But I just,
Lundquist.
like those are the days. But if you're going to put a new entity together, a super league, I'll be very curious to see how things like the DTC package from ESPN or anything else would play into that, because there's going to be negotiating.
Yeah. And I do think that this ESPN deal, and this might be a little aliens living under the crust of the earth for you, but I think that this ESPN deal, and I don't know that you guys, I'm sure, saw this, ESPN and the National Football League did a deal that had ESPN acquiring NFL networks and its assets in exchange for a 10% equity stake for the NFL and ESPN. Well, that also had ESPN now owning the copyright and intellectual properties for the term red zone. And as part of that agreement, I'm told that they are allowed to use red zone for other things, including college football. And I think one of the things that's so interesting is ESPN, and I know I've been saying this for years, and maybe at some point you guys will believe me, ESPN is going to have a significant voice in what the future of college football looks like, because what happens if they create a college football red zone? That's a huge cash influx for a new entity. I don't know, like the college football entity, or call it whatever you want, where you have probably hundreds of millions of dollars coming into college football through a college football red zone, where do you think that's going to live? Well, that's going to live on the direct-to-consumer app that ESPN is launching. And what's going to happen is ESPN is going to foot the bill for that, but CBS and Fox are going to have a role in that, because if you really want to have all of the games in one place, you have to have an agreement that says, hey, CBS, we need to have your games in this red zone app. Fox, whoever, we need your streams in this red zone app. So you have the college football entity. Well, what would that be akin to? I don't know, like the NFL entity where all of it's under one umbrella. And I've been telling you this for several years, that college football is going to an NFL model. I think that's what you're going to see. And a lot of people have said, well, CBS is going to stand in the way because of the Big Ten contract. They're not. It makes CBS more money. It makes everybody in the Big Ten more money. I'm telling you, all of these solutions, and I know that I don't particularly have a life. So when I tell you that this deal where they're able to use the term red zone for college football and college basketball is a big, big deal, because I don't know how many people watch hockey on this show. You understand that ESPN already does this for hockey. This is how you watch hockey on ESPN.
And
already.
it's very good. It's very good.
It makes sense. It's all kind of falling in line with the future of college sports. So are you guys in favor of that? How do you guys feel about that?
Clearly it would be a smashing success. I mean, a red zone, red zone style format for college football would be absolutely incredible. Again, I'm well on the record multiple times recently saying that I'm not a huge red zone guy myself, but I know tons of people are, and I know it's a beloved product. And, I just think that anytime you can get more people to the TV and make the game easier to watch for people, that's a good thing. And,
Yes.
and yeah, I think, people didn't really consider in the big picture, like fans and stuff, that the reason ESPN was doing this is because they wanted to be able to get the rights to the red zone name itself so they could do other things. So I just, I agree that ESPN is in the business of figuring out ways to bring in more money. This is definitely one of those ways. But when I saw the red zone college football thing, I started thinking about, well, what other ways is ESPN going to continue to basically, innovate, right? Like whether you look at the struggle between Major League Baseball and ESPN and figuring out that deal and making that a more attractive product, like there are a lot of different ways that ESPN can do this. And I love the concept of, hey, we're going to get a new shiny car in red zone on ESPN. Then we're going to get another new shiny car in the new entity in a couple of years. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like, I don't want people to sit here and be like, oh, college football is in a bad spot, because it's not in a bad spot. It's
not
doing
at all.
just fine, man.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's very interesting. Will you watch a college? Because you're not somebody who watches hundreds of games. You're not somebody that is going to spend your entire afternoon sitting around watching college football.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you are more, I don't know, is it likely? Do you think you are more likely to watch college football if there is a red zone setup?
I mean, I think what I would say is I would be more likely to have that on my phone as I'm on the go doing other things on those Saturdays where, just easy example, like, you're like, obviously I sit in Pacific time now, so college football starts earlier. So if I have a morning tea time and I still want to keep up with an early game, I could easily see having red zone streaming on my phone while I'm out on the course, right? And keeping up, because that's the thing, like when you do a show, like the biggest thing is keeping up with the game and being able to talk about it, right? Understanding like, hey, what happened on this play? Like you need to follow the biggest plays in the game. And obviously red zone is called red zone for a reason. They're focused on scoring touchdowns, but if you have red zone on, and we've all done this, you have red zone on your TV and there's a game that's just going back and forth, it's constantly on the red zone, there's constantly scoring going on, you're probably going to be a little more prone to flip that game on individually at some point and dive into that game. So it would have value to me in the sense that if I was on the go, I probably would use it a ton, honestly. But if you're asking me if I'm going to sit in front of my big ass TV at my house and put on Red Zone, no, I'm going to flip around the different games because there is truly nothing I love more than, and I know I say this all the time, but I love the fall weather, windows open, breeze blowing through, great football game on the TV, and making some food at the house. It's truly one of my favorite things, and I don't mind having to flip around channels. It doesn't bother me the way it bothers some other people.
Yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see how that go. Will you guys be doing this? Will you guys be putting yourself in a position to watch Red Zone? Let's get your thoughts on it. Oak State James says, I would love to see a college football Red Zone. That way, if there is an upset brewing, I can focus on that game, or if there's a good rivalry game on, I can watch that one. But that's not how Red Zone works. Do you guys understand what Red Zone is? Like, and I don't know, Jake, am I misunderstanding this comment? That's not how Red Zone works. The way that Red Zone works is it takes you to all of the games where they're in the red zone. It takes you to Bama versus LSU because Ty Simpson's got the tie at the 17-yard line. Timeout in that game. Okay, let's go to BYU, Utah, as BYU is on the 12-yard line. Like, it just bounces you around from power game to power game when all those teams are about to score.
One of the things I think functionality. So what we're really talking about is functionality, right? Like we're talking about what do you actually see on your screen. I know for a fact that when, obviously now, not if, when ESPN rolls out Red Zone for college football, YouTube TV, if you have YouTube TV, will populate games and you can customize which games you want as the split on your TV. So for me, Scott Hansen does a great job and all of that. But again, like I said, I'm just going to be interested in the games that I'm interested in. If as an example, if there's a G5 game on that I'm not super interested in, like that's one of the things that turns me off about Red Zone. I don't really care about that. I'm more interested in this drive or that drive. So I think it really truly comes down to personal preference and how you like to watch it. But what we all know and what we all can agree on is there are millions of people who love the Red Zone experience. Yes. There's a reason that Scott is literally trending on Twitter as being saved by ESPN and the NFL, because at one point the rumor, which clearly was untrue, but the rumor swirling around that the NFL was going to axe Red Zone had everyone up in arms.
Crazy to me.
Yeah, which is a ridiculous
Which is what we told you on this show. Yeah, that there was never a time where they were going to axe Red Zone.
Yeah,
that just was never going to happen. It makes them too much money. But James, I just don't think you understand what Red Zone is. That's the thing. Blue Turf says, when you talk about an NFL model, what is it? I don't see college football going to an NFL model. I don't know how they don't. Because when we talk about an NFL model, we are talking about you won enough games or you lost enough games. And if you won enough games, you're in. I think you're looking at a situation where it will be power teams. I think it's going to be, as I've said in the past, I think it's going to be $1 billion operation per school. I think you are going to have ownership in this entity as a power conference team. I think there will be an opportunity in the onset to have the Boise States and the Oregon States of the world opt into that or somehow join that. I don't know exactly what that will look like, but I think you're looking at a way where you're going to have divisions. I think you're looking at a way where you're going to have conferences. And I think you're looking at a situation where it's going to be very clear, much like the NFL. I think you're going to have division champions. I think you're going to have conference champions. You're going to have home field advantages, because I think we all agree that playing a college football playoff game at the stadium in South Bend was fantastic for college football.
Yes.
Playing games in local at the shoe is fantastic, right? So I don't think there's any doubt when I say we're going to an NFL model. I think you're going to have conferences and divisions. I think you're going to have wild card type scenarios. And I think it's going to be very clear. You won enough games, so you're in. You lost games, so you're out. It is as simple as that. I think the games against Poughkeepsie State Sewing Circle are done. I think you are only going to be able to play teams that are in those power teams in this entity, period. That's it. The end. My belief is still remains, and I was talking to a TV guy about this. I think you're going to have the championship game of college football one weekend, and then the next weekend it'll be the Super Bowl Sunday, Super Bowl NFL weekend. I just think it makes far too much sense to do that. And
and I do think that there's one caveat, which is when we say things like the NFL minor league model, we're not referencing the finances of how the NFL goes about it, right? Like salary caps and all of that. That's not what we mean.
No.
What we mean is the structure of how a national championship is decided. You know, who gets in, you know, how you go about that. Basically the process of, hey, you just went 13-0. How do we evaluate that opponent? How is a new matchup created in the postseason? You know, in the NFL, it's very clear, right? We know what wild card weekend is about. We know what divisional weekend's about. We know what conference championship weekend is about. It's very simple, very clear. We're 4 weeks into the season, and we know that the Bengals are going to have a real tough time getting into the playoffs last year. Like, that's what we need to know in college football.
And I also think you're going to see they are going to, when this new entity is formed, point blank, I was told today by an administrator that the transfer portal thing is going to disappear, because you can't put teams and administrators under that kind of pressure at the biggest time of the year. And I think that you're looking at a situation where kids have contracts with these conglomerates is the best word that I can come up with. Because these NIL collectives, they're not small entities anymore. They're not, like Coug Connect in BYU country is not the collective of note anymore. Like that, they still do great things on an individual basis, but we're talking about multi-million-dollar conglomerates now that run these collectives. They're not going to put their money at risk because, Nico Imaliava's dad wanted him to get $4 million, right? Like, you're going to have contracts and you are going to have to opt into those deals. And I think you're going to see these NIL deals are going to be multi-year deals that are going to lock you into a university.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think all this nonsense about when a kid can transfer, when a kid cannot, that all goes away. I think it becomes very clear that these kids are going to be compensated, and for that compensation, they're going to agree to play football in Lubbock. She's going to agree to play softball in Lubbock for this amount of time. And I also think this movement that we saw with some collectives to say, well, you didn't pitch well enough, so we're not going to pay you. That's all out the window. These agreements with collectives and through schools where these kids are getting paid, they're going to be fully guaranteed NBA-style contracts. I came here. I signed a contract with Alabama. I got paid from this collective. That money is mine. And one of the things that I've heard about is, much like in the NFL, when you agree to have a kid and you sign him to a contract, you got to escrow that money. And I think that's exactly the right way to go about it, because you can't have these collectives holding these kids hostage like, the check's in the mail, kid. No. You're paying me. I played. I signed a deal. I played. I followed the terms. I am getting paid. So when I say NFL model, those are the things that we're talking about with an NFL model, where I think it's going to be very standardized. Charlie Casoto, what's up, Chuck?
Hey, Chuck.
If KU gets invited to the SEC Big, would KSU will not allow it? No, I think that Kansas State just disappears. Avery Johnson's a flop anyway. I don't think there's an allow it, not allow it. I think this is one of the other conversations that's ongoing. I don't believe this thing about like the ACC melting down. I don't think we ever get to the ACC melting down. My opinion on that still has not changed. I think in basketball, we're having a completely different discussion, because remember, the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12, they're not going away. The conferences aren't disappearing. You're just pulling football out of their from underneath their banner, because every team's in the same entity. but all the other sports remain in those conferences. And I think you're going to see a dramatic reshuffling of the finances of college sports when this new entity happens, because I think the money is going to be significantly larger. And it's why when I say I don't understand what is confusing to people about an NFL model. This is truly what I am trying to understand. What is confusing to people about an NFL model? Because I am not confused by it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think people, I know people like to get into the weeds of like salary caps and like how all that's going to work.
But we already have a salary cap, right? I mean, every team has to agree to revenue share $20.5 million. How you allocate that money into who is already, that's up to you.
But that's the minimum, right? I mean, there's not like, that would be the minimum, right?
No, that is the maximum. Like Memphis isn't going to, or G5s aren't going to do that, right? But if you're a power conference, you're opting in to revenue share that amount of money. Period. There's no conjecture about that. That's not opinion. And if you don't want to revenue share that kind of money, you don't have to opt in. It's as simple as that. But every power conference team opted in. Mm-hmm. So I just don't see how you. I don't know. Maybe it's just my opinion. I don't see how this is at all confusing. I really don't see how it's all confusing at all in any way, shape, or form. All right, let's get some of your comments in here. Gabriel, Big Daddy Magic says, my favorite thing is having my son and grandson over, great weather, and we watch Victor. Again, your first comment of the day is Victor Wembanyama during a football thing. This guy got up. He got so upset with me the other day because I asked him if he knew. I made a joke about, would Victor be upset if he knew you were cheating on him with AJ DeBanza? And Big Daddy Magic lost his mind over it. Like, dude, relax. The world's not ending. Nobody's doing brain surgery, man. Have some fun with it. King of Thailand, I love concept of red zone college football, but do not trust media and big brands to run it. Well, I mean, what's the point of having it if you're not going to show the biggest games?
Yeah, I think one of the concerns I saw today was that, because ESPN, had the naming rights to red zone, their stake was like 10%, I think, or something like that, through buying what they bought. Like, just the unbiased coverage of the NFL potentially being biased or looking that way. I think people put too much stock into that. I think the NFL, dude, the coverage of the NFL is so personal now. I mean, you look at how the NFL is covered. It's writer to writer, man. It's reporter to reporter at this point.
And I think through this new direct to consumer app or platform, because I think it's going to be in the ESPN app, what you're going to see is you're going to have the ability to pick and choose games. I mean, trust me, and I'm a Notre Dame fan. I obviously don't have to worry about where I find the Notre Dame game, but who's a lesser brand in the Big 12? If you are UCF, I think you're going to be able to find the UCF game in the ESPN app. I wouldn't worry about if you're a Virginia fan. I wouldn't worry about finding the Virginia game. It'll be there. And I'm trying to think of lesser brands.
Baylor.
Is Baylor a lesser brand? Oak State. Nobody gives a rat's ass about Oklahoma State football right now. You're still going to be able to find. It's not going to be on national TV. Pitt in the ACC. Pitt's a tiny brand. Very little Q factor. You're going to be able to find their games.
Yeah.
Right. Mike Smith, I would rather just watch the games I want to watch, not a channel that will be playing clips of games I have no interest in watching. And that's a very valid point, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
If you're
Mike,
a West Virginia
more of
guy,
you're a purist, right? In terms of football, like you enjoy the X's and O's more than I think probably your average fan does. I think red zone is uniquely catered to somebody who isn't as concerned about the 2-yard play and just wants to see scoring, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't disagree with you, Mike. Like I love watching the whole drive and the games that I'm interested in.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. I don't pretend to. My opinion is that you're going to see on a consistent basis the biggest games of that week, regardless of conference, are going to be on national television. It is just like the NFL. I think you're going to have the ability to flex a big game onto this window in time. I was talking to TV people today who said that you're going to have exclusive nights of college football now, not unlike Thursday night football. Absolutely, I can see a Wednesday night marquee matchup. I can see a Friday night, Saturday night. Like, you're going to continue to see college football is going to package big contests, and they are going to put them on an individual platform so that that game is watched by everybody, because that's what Monday Night Football used to be. That's what Sunday Night Football used to be. And it's what the NFL is trying to get back to. And I think that's why you get into business with ESPN. The NFL now owns 10% of ESPN. And they only did that to have more of an influence, which, for those of you who don't know, the NFL has an enormous influence over the look and feel of their games, right down to who the play-by-play guy is. They're going to continue to have that. And I think ESPN's a network, and we've talked about this with the Pac-12 deal. ESPN has no interest in giving the Pac-12 a satellite feed and saying, okay, go ahead and knock yourself out, little Jimmy, produce whatever game you want, right? The ESPN wants to control the look, the feel, the quality, the graphics, the first down line, the play-by-play guys. They want to control that all. And I think when you look at where these power conferences with the biggest games are going, they're going to be on CBS, NBC, and ESPN, ABC, Fox. Like, they're going to be there. And, you know, I think it's an irrational fear to believe that your team won't be able to be on TV. I mean, there's just so much content needed. There's so much airspace needed now that everything's digital. You look at every MLS game, it's not unlike the baseball package, the NBA pack. I can watch any NBA game I want. On a Saturday afternoon, I'm going to watch any college football game I want. And I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it because I subscribe to ESPN's app and I pay a higher fee to watch individual games.
Now, I think that to that point, there is one question that I think is going to be vetted out through this process, which is how much unsubscribing are you going to do now that we have this offering?
Oh,
Because
I'm done with YouTube TV.
Yeah,
I'm out on YouTube TV.
Impact.
Yeah, I'm out on YouTube TV. I'm sure everybody saw, because you all watch. I know the Cubs are the biggest team in the history of professional sports. I loved watching the Cubs game today. Didn't need YouTube TV for that.
How did you watch it?
I watched it on the MLB app. I'm a season ticket holder, so I get that as part of my season ticket package. So I watch it on the ESPN app, or I watch it on the Major League Baseball app. But I don't need traditional television. I don't need DirecTV. I don't need cable. I have Xfinity, but I don't have Xfinity cable. I have their internet, right? Like, back at my house, that's what I have. But I'll tell you, it's funny. The way I watch TV has completely changed. I have been a believer for, and I don't even know how many years it is, probably over a decade. I don't have a TV in my room. Yeah. I think in my bedroom, I don't have a TV.
It's good for two things.
My bedroom is for planting seeds and sleeping well, right? And I have, in my house, I only have 2 TVs now. I have a TV in my living room and I have a TV in my office. That's it, right? So I used to have 3, 4 TVs in my house. Those days are over. When I can just pick up my phone and I can watch any NFL game I want.
Well, think about your devices too. Like,
while I'm playing golf on a Sunday, I can watch the NFL on my phone.
Yeah. And you have the iPad Pro, so that's also another outlet, should you want to use that. Like, that's the beautiful part about it. And that's where I think, I mean, I can't imagine who's still doing it, but if you're someone who's on cable still or satellite still, like,
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't know how you're still doing that, bro. I don't get it.
And I am looking quite forward to not having YouTube TV anymore. It's $80-something a month, and I'm out. Like I don't need that.
Which means
I
you won't
all-
have Sunday ticket either then.
No,
Correct?
yeah, absolutely I will. You can get
Oh.
Sunday ticket outside of having YouTube TV. That was one of the best parts of it. Right? For me, my wife and I were talking about it the other day, like, what do we really watch? Well, at night, I mean, we watch reruns of ER. I'll watch Cubs baseball. I can't tell you the last time. I'm a Chicago PD guy, my favorite TV show. I don't watch it on, like, KSL is the NBC affiliate in Salt Lake City. I cannot tell you the last time I saw KSL TV. I don't watch it. I watch the Cock. I get Notre Dame football through the Peacock app. I get Chicago PD and all the Law and Orders through the Peacock app.
Yeah.
I get ER on HBO Max. My wife loves HBO Max. Like, she's a huge fan. We get Prime Video through Amazon Prime. Like, why am I paying for anything else?
Yeah.
Why? Like, I get watching Hard Knocks last night, which I thought, dude, I love Josh Allen. That was one of the most boring Hard Knocks I've ever seen. Like, it just was uninteresting to me.
What did you think of the stadium portion? Because that's what everyone's all up in arms about. That the Bills are, building this stadium where the wind won't swirl, and it's,
unmoved. I'm not the stuff where we're at home and we're watching dude drift in his cars with his kids. I love that stuff. The football was wholly uninteresting. Josh Allen, I can watch Josh Allen throw a football all day long.
Mm-hmm.
It is a thing of, yes, Mike Smith, the Pit. Give me John Carter, Dr. John Carter on the Pit, Noah Wiley.
Yeah.
Love the Pit. Like, but Mike, I don't need cable to watch that, right? Mike, like, we don't need cable to watch the Pit. Why do I pay YouTube TV? I have no idea. The only motivation I have to pay YouTube TV is because I like the PGA Tour.
Yeah, but you don't even need that.
Well, where am I going to get it?
ESPN DTC.
No, I don't think so. Not on a Saturday or Sunday. I need, and maybe it's in the CBS app. I have no idea. But my point is, there's not much that I'm missing if I don't care. I'll do it right now. If I unsubscribe from YouTube TV, like, what am I missing? That's the thing. Like, with ESPN and all the apps on my TV, I have no reason to be paying YouTube TV $84 a month. It is something that unbelievably pisses me off. I cannot stand it. I cannot stand it. And for my money, I'm happy to, as I flip around here, I'm happy to unsubscribe from it.
Mm-hmm.
I am so over this idea. And this is what excites me about ESPN direct to consumer. I can be anywhere I want and I can watch it. Why do I care? This and it's the thing that I don't truly understand about sports fans, and maybe you guys can explain it to me. Why you have this irrational hate of ESPN? I will never understand it. I will never understand it.
Gotta hate somebody, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I really hope that at some point we stop with this nonsense about how much we hate ESPN, because, and I understand it's the woke, they're woke. Dude, that tells me you haven't watched ESPN in forever. And again, I just would politic and say, you don't know what woke means, so stop using the word.
Mm-hmm.
It annoys me. I am thinking it's going to be a rough year based on the roster for, what am I missing? Thailand. Great app called Just Watch that tells you what streaming services give you a given show. I've seen that. Yes. Too early to tell. He's bitching about players being too soft while having a huge roster turnover. Oh, you mean Rich Rod? I saw that. Well, Wasikowski, YouTube TV, let me watch Big Ten Network in Florida. Only reason for me to keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's fair.
I mean, I get that. Just buy Sunday ticket for the season, and that's my TV. 100%. 100%. I agree with that. It's too easy. Why would I need TV in the bedroom? I own a Samsung Galaxy Edge.
Okay, you lost all credibility. You lost all credibility, dude. What do you mean? First of all, what do you mean watching football on a phone is the same as a TV? First of all, that's your first awful take. Second awful take is the idea that a Samsung of any variety is a good experience. Don't start with that today, bro. Don't start with that.
I am not. I have no idea. I have no idea in any way, shape, or form why on earth you would do that. I freely admit, when Mrs. Monty and I go to bed, I'm looking at my phone, but we're also laughing and sharing content together. And I am not watching TV in the bedroom. I am telling you now, if you are watching TV on a TV or on your phone, you're doing it wrong if you're doing it in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
That is not, that's not what it is. So I'm sitting here on the cancel screen on YouTube TV. If you cancel or pause YouTube TV base plan, you'll lose access to NFL Sunday Ticket while you're away. You'll continue to be charged for any remaining NFL Sunday Ticket payments due this season. Your membership for the season can't be canceled, and you won't get refunded payments that have already been made. So you're telling me that I paid for something and you're not going to give it to me. If I continue to cancel, I have to have an active base plan. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? That's my question.
That's wild, dude.
Their base plan is $83
a month.
I am amazed by that. I am amazed by that. And I can't imagine. Maybe I just cancel it. Like I just.
Yeah, I mean, it's your decision, obviously. Like,
me.
Yeah, I mean, you have
what
to,
annoys me.
That's why they do it, because they want to force you into staying.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I am. Admittedly, I'm all in on YouTube TV. Like, I'm looking at what I pay for. I pay for NBA League Pass. I pay for NFL Sunday Ticket. Like, I'm very curious. I am very curious. Boy, what do you do here? What do you do here? They offer you when you quit. When you try to quit. It says that you will lose all payments made on NFL Sunday Ticket. And I'm just really curious. Why
Okay, let me see. I'm gonna do mine real quick. Let's see what they say to me. I mean, surely they're gonna say the same thing, right? Like, they must.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know. It's very interesting. It is very interesting to me. I just think it's just such a scam. It feels like such a scam to me. That's what it feels like. I'm going to cancel it and see what happens. And let's see what it's offering me Filipino Plus, though.
Well,
I can get my favorite Filipino
RJC
channels.
Man, any thoughts, bro?
No, he's Thailand, not that's Thailand. I'm out. I canceled it. There you go. I'm out on YouTube TV. Are you guys proud of me, or is this a big moment in my maturation?
Okay, I'm in the process of canceling.
I mean,
I've canceled League Pass.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to the base plan.
Yeah.
And now let's see. They're asking me to pause, not cancel. I'm canceling.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It is. Well, you know what? Two Pants, it's on a different login. Next thing you know, they'll kick you off YouTube if you can't. Well, it's on a different login. So, again, ESPN DTC is going to cripple other streaming services. I think so, because they're going to give you a Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN bundle.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get the entire ABC, ESPN family of it.
Bro, I had no idea. Like, I'm just doing this canceling thing. I had no idea they had all these mini bundles inside of YouTube TV.
Oh, yeah.
No idea.
I mean, it's a full-on television package.
Like, I didn't know that, Paramount Plus with Showtime through YouTube TV. Like, I didn't know they had all this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I am. It's really interesting. It'll be really interesting to see how much my balls ache over moves like this, because I love it. Matt Ritson, hello, Matt. Stick with YouTube TV, get all local channels, including for months, but Peacock for WWE for $24 this year. And if you like YouTube TV, I'm not telling you to leave it. My wife and I just don't watch it. We just don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about it, and you're right. I mean, I think you're spot on. Like, the only time I really ever flip YouTube TV on is if, like, there's not a new episode of a show of whatever variety, or golf. But 9 days out of 10, I'm not just sitting in front of my TV all day. You know, like, so it's like I'm either on the phone or whatever. So, like, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, and my wife is such a bully. She made me watch this castle renovation show that sucked. That show's
Sorry,
terrible.
did you say castle renovation?
Yeah, these idiots bought a castle in, like, France. And they're like, not a castle.
Oh, Monty, that's the home of Victor Wembanyama. Great
it's
choice.
Like this. It's this stupid show, a chateau. It's a fucking castle, lady. Stop calling it a chateau.
Dude, bro.
Probably too much.
It's the nicer name, so we can sell it for way over list price in 2 seconds.
Yeah, chateau. And they have weddings
joke.
at it. And you know my sickness? I'm looking at the overhead aerial shots of this thing. I'm like, dude, why haven't you put a par 3 in there? And actually you got enough land there. You could do a short par 4 that you could hit with a 3-wood. That's hole-in-one territory now, kid. No, we got to do a room where we have a big mirror on top of a fireplace. Do toilet and stuff. Like, get out of here. If it wasn't for sports, TNT would be a movie channel. Think about that. Truth. It took me 2 hours on the phone to get them to acknowledge they screwed me, dude. King of Thailand, for a guy that's royalty, you are remarkably bad at technology. Like, you can never find Jake on Instagram. You don't know how to, like, screenshots. Like, bro, I just canceled YouTube TV and all my add-ons in like 35 seconds.
What now? Let me tell you what now.
Get on a computer, Google search, cancel YouTube TV subscription. Done. It's all reruns of movies nowadays. It really is. It is. I just need something to watch Ohio State games and other college football games. DirecTV is too much, and I can't get cable where I live, dude. YouTube TV is not the end of the world, but I would tell you, ESPN, DTC, the problem is you're in Big Ten country.
The problem is that you
Fox Sports, whatever that Fox Sports Go thing is going to be.
Yeah, the problem is you wind up paying for all these different apps, right? Like ESPN, the Cock, CBS, Paramount, like all these different, in the chat, like Disney, Hulu, Discovery Plus, like, and then you're paying for YouTube TV on top of that. That's my problem. Like, we're already paying for all of these different things, and so the cost winds up being like, when it's all said and done, you wind up being like $250, $300 a month.
It's huge money.
What? Like, for what?
Yeah, it's huge money. And I just don't think it's worth it. For what is the right question?
Yeah.
Matthew on Twitter.
Hey, Matt.
Says, I was liberated when I canceled all of my TV subscriptions. All I have now is Netflix, and because of you, quote unquote, the Cock, I'll definitely be getting ESPN DTC. I don't know how you avoid ESPN DTC. It's got everything.
Yeah.
It's got everything. Mike Smith, I watch a good number of renovations in France and Portugal. Oh, chateau can be castles, manor houses, and so on, depending on the lineage of the past owners.
It's well, we sharpen pencils, and I sell these little antique teacups, and we bought a house for $900,000, and now we have the liability, and we got to sell it for like 2.5 million. It is what it is, guys.
And every idiot in the world that's like, yeah, I want to have a $70 million wedding. Can I get that DTC, please? Like all these people that are willing to pay like weddings at a chateau in France. That sounds cheap.
That sounds like the Jeremiah Champion, pricing package.
Wedding planner.
Yeah.
Gabriel, like I said, what is more valuable as a sports fan? YouTube TV for $90 a month or ESPN for $30 to $45 a month?
Yeah, ESPN.
I don't even think
and what'll end up happening is now I'm gonna have to figure out, okay, well, I'm obviously gonna figure out the Sunday ticket.
Yeah, I gotta figure that out.
And then
why don't we just get it at my place and then we can share it and we can smoke wings? Oh wait.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely share the same password if you want. I'll Venmo you.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Infamous last words from your kid. Hey, Dad, I'll Venmo you. Just shoot me over a password. Venmo never comes. Is ESPN going to merge with Hulu, Disney Plus? They already have. Disney owns
I thought
ABC,
they were all the same.
ES.
Yeah.
They are. They're all under the same house.
Yeah.
SEC hasn't been the top conference for 5 years. Yeah.
Oh, please.
Here we go. Again, you can make outlandish statements. You can't back that up. Some renovations are much better and interesting than others, just like some House Hunter shows. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm a guy, I love House Hunters International. I have no desire to watch somebody in Tupelo go house hunting. And it just is not that interesting to me. I'm praying for redundancy. I'm paying for redundancy. Yes, you are. So am I. Not anymore. King of Thailand, Mike, did you see the guy who tries to pick through the castle manor chateaus?
See, again, can we just say castle? What do you mean castles, manors, chateau?
And stuff.
No, this is like when people are like, "Oh yeah, we're in Maui and we're going out on the lanai." You mean the deck, the porch?
Yeah. Pierre Gatling gun. If you have Spectrum cable, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, and the cock are included. I like it. Midweek Coug, Fox streaming's terrible. It has been. It's
we can all agree.
Well, but they're also doing the direct-to-consumer thing. So at some point, you're going to have to, right? You're going to have to uptick that, and you're going to have to get to a place with Fox where you're able to compete with ESPN because you're already way behind when it comes to sports talk, entertainment. You're miles behind ESPN.
Yeah.
Like with Pat McAfee, and I understand Fox just went full Barstool. And has that started yet, by the way? I have again.
I didn't.
Why do I not know that? Because I don't watch Fox. So I have no idea. Has Barstool moved over to Fox yet? Don't know. Not sure which one that is, RJC. There's too many chateau shows. Chateaus are not always castles, but are castles always chateaus?
Our apartments, small manors.
Exactly. Sometimes they're just large manors. Okay. Gabriel, stay away from Spectrum as an ex-Spectrum customer. Here we go. That was the worst cable experience. Their internet is bad, and they charge you hidden fees, bro. Is any internet good? Is any internet good? And the answer is no. No internet is good. No internet's good. I am here to break it to you that no internet is good internet.
Insurance,
Everything's a scam. It's going, let's see, King of Thailand, Disney wants to spin off ESPN. Who buys them, Monty? Disney does not want to spin off ESPN. That is completely not true. Not at all. Awkward guy. It's going to start for this season. Oh, with Barstool. Yeah. Disney is shutting down Hulu, so ESPN is stand online. Is that official that they're shutting down Hulu? I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I could be wrong. I'm not a Hulu guy, so I don't follow it. I think aren't they bringing all of that under one? I don't know. I would need to, I think they're just changing in the delivery of it. And of course, it's pop-up ad after pop-up ad. First thing, USA Today, Hulu isn't shutting down. They're bringing it under one app. Hulu will now be integrated into Disney Plus in 2026. And I think that's exactly right. That saves them money. That's why they do it. So there's no question. First text, no, they're not shutting down Hulu. I think Disney has hemorrhaged money on streaming. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Apple has absolutely lost their ass on streaming. Like, I think we're starting to see, much to Eric's point about Hulu, we're starting to see this renovation, where they bring everything into one house. And I think you have to do that. And I think that's why the idea that ESPN is selling off, or Disney's selling off ESPN, it makes, do you guys understand? Every time somebody now subscribes to ESPN, Disney makes $30. And while cable and satellite are still a thing, do you guys understand that every time somebody signs up for cable and that cable company carries ESPN, let this sink in. Every time somebody signs up for cable on a cable system that carries ESPN, ESPN gets $25. It doesn't matter if those people came there for ESPN, ever watch ESPN or any of its networks. ESPN gets $25. They're not going away. They're not going away. What happened to Pac-12 Network Pac-12 Network will have it next year's. I have no idea what your question is. Let me know rephrase that. Big Daddy Magic. France is a place. Gauge this dark world, Victor. Bro, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I wish I could get Google Fiber. You and I both. It's not available in my area. Internet in my area is pretty good, which is impressive for backwoods rural area. It really is. I have some internet with T-Mobile. It's pretty good. Hulu isn't going away. It's going to be part of the Disney app. Okay. I mean, my feeling is they're doing exactly what NBC did. Everything's in Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing what CBS is going to do. Everything's in Paramount Plus. Like, I don't know how you don't do that. But it is what it is. All right. Can we switch gears? Can we talk a little NFL? Jake had a hysterectomy over an Aaron Rodgers video. We'll play it for you next.
You're not just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an advocate.
Indeed, you do. The Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. And I just cannot tell you enough. If you're in a car accident, if you've been hurt at work, if you got attacked by a dog, or, I told you guys about my Uber driver whose daughter got attacked by their neighbor's dog. You didn't deserve that. You did nothing to deserve that. You need somebody who's fought that fight so that you can get what you deserve. That's the Advocates. They're experienced, they're compassionate, and they win. That's why you go to theadvocates.com, chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365. And it won't cost you a dime because you don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case. Aaron Rodgers looks really slow. Jake, go ahead and rip the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback.
He looks slow and old and terrible. The guy's out here doing cone drills and looks like he's walking in cement. Like, there's a reason people are calling him, old and, not mobile. And I think this video is indicative of that. I think people forget that this guy, is in his 40s and, isn't the same guy he used to be. Now he's still got the arm, still got the vision, still got the mentals, clearly can still help him win games. But, I'm not so sure that this video is a great representation.
And
look at how slow he looks.
Does he look slow?
Yeah.
Does this matter at all as to what they'll be as a football team? No.
You're going to say no, it doesn't. I'm going to say yes, it does.
You think this video is indicative of what Aaron Rodgers is going to look like during the season?
Yes.
Because he ever does what he's doing right there. That's a pocket climbing drill, which is the technical term. And if you watch him move his feet, this is all footwork. He's just trying to slide up in the pocket. When does Aaron Rodgers ever do that? He doesn't. And you can't tell me that this video is now like an indictment on his ability to win football games. I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think people are reacting negatively to it. I think people think he looks slow. He looks not quick, not sharp that way. Like,
yeah,
not
he
like,
looks old.
Yeah. I mean, he does. Like, he does. And I think every quarterback has to climb the pocket at some point. That's part of being a quarterback. I'm not saying that that's a staple of his game, and certainly you're not going to be running seven, step drops with Aaron Rodgers consistently. But, I'm just telling you, this is an offense that's going to have to be protect Aaron Rodgers, give him good protection, and make sure that ball is not in his hand for more than probably 3 seconds at most.
Okay, so no, not to be a jackwagon.
Mm-hmm.
Before you saw this video, what should their offense have been focused on? Protecting Aaron Rodgers, making sure he has a clean pocket, and giving him time to get rid of the football.
Right, but it doesn't make you feel better that he's slow. He's
right,
a
but it
statue
doesn't
back
change,
there, bro.
Does it change the calculus at all?
No, but
this video
it
doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. I should have known you were going to knee pad on this. I should have known. Should have known.
So now I'm throating Aaron Rodgers allegedly?
Yes, bro, you're sitting here saying this has no impact on how we should view him as a quarterback.
It doesn't.
Come on.
I've seen too much of this. I've been through this. It's Brett Favre being washed up in, well, he actually was. Nice thumb picture. It's every guy who
Aaron, stay away from Snapchat, buddy.
Right? Like, it's every time we see training camp videos, it's you're old, you're washed up. And then we get to December and Aaron Rodgers has them in the playoffs. Like, this video of Aaron Rodgers does not make me think that Pittsburgh's not going to the playoffs. This is a drill with him hopping around like a bunny. Who cares? Aaron Rodgers isn't here to be a lethality, a lethal quarterback, a mobile. Like, that's not him.
Mm-hmm.
He's here to throw the goddamn football to DK Metcalf.
Listen, all I'm saying is that when you've got a professional defensive end chasing you down, we'll see what it is, bro. We will see what it is.
Yeah, I guess yeah. What do you guys think? Is Aaron Rodgers dead? Is AR going down the Brett Favre road? Not if he keeps his thumbs off his camera. Jake lips off to Monty now that he's out of arm's reach. Well, it's funny what people think freedom does. That Achilles in Rodgers. But is it? Is that catching up to Aaron Rodgers?
I don't think that's the Achilles, bro. I just think he's older. That's what I think.
I think when you just look at this video and look at it objectively, what has really changed about Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, fucking God.
That looks like the same old Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Hairy ass dude coming out of the darkness, trying to tell everyone he's legit, and he's got to prove it now. Yeah, look at that. Open the door on the garbage can. Now he's out trying to show everyone he's the best.
And he doesn't hold the ball that long. It's a football drill.
Yeah.
It's a we're talking football.
Yeah, I get it, bro. I get it.
Yeah, you're just over here throating the guy because you'll never admit that you were wrong.
Sucking a ding dong.
Look what he did to my girl.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Aaron Rodgers is old and Caleb's nails are too wet in practice. Okay. Anybody see anybody see how much better Caleb Williams has been the last 2 days in practice? He sucks. He's no Jared Goff. Funny what happens when the coach starts, when you have a coach, and I know this is crazy. It's funny what happens when you have a coach who knows how to build an offense around a player, and when there's not execution there in their 9th practice of the year, and that coach doesn't lose his shit and listen to idiot moronic fans saying that Caleb Williams is a bust because he had a day at practice where he was inaccurate. Oh, well, then what about J.J. McCarthy? Because he hasn't been accurate all camp.
Did you see? I should have. Well, it's Fox. It would have been copyrighted. But did you see Cowherd today talking about McCarthy? Cowherd's on his show today saying that the Vikings PR team is propping up J.J. McCarthy and that he hasn't actually been as good as all the video coming out showing what it is, and like there are rumors abound about this.
J.J. McCarthy the other day threw a touchdown in the red zone, and it was a back pylon throw. They ran that video out 10 different ways. Like it was, and I just think that they know J.J. McCarthy. I think J.J. McCarthy can be the starting quarterback of the Vikings this year. But they're going to struggle offensively because he is only as good as he's inexperienced, and he's never been able to read a defense. And the Vikings would tell you that J.J. McCarthy is the best quarterback they've ever had in camp. Mm-hmm. It's simply not true. The videos that we're seeing from Viking fans booing him because you think Caleb Williams has been bad. J.J. McCarthy's been in the same offense now for 2 years. He didn't play last year, so all he had to do was study and learn.
Mm-hmm.
He's bouncing throws at wide receivers' feet. And the Vikings are saying, oh my God, best quarterback we've ever seen. I understand why they're doing it. But you guys understand. On Sunday, I think it was, he threw 9 passes. You understand? 5 of those were intercepted. That's not like, hey, holy God, my God. You understand in his first, I think he threw 12 total passes. Don't quote me on this. I think he was 3 of 12. 5 of the first 9 were intercepted. 4 of the 5 went back for touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you out of your mind? And you're raving about this cat. And you look at the tape on him, and you understand that he's throwing the football in the wrong place. He's got like, and I think NFL Network did the best breakdown of this, where he's got 2 guys running go routes on the right. One guy's running straight down the boundary. The other guy's running an in fade, right? He's got to get inside the hash mark to give the outside guy room. The guy on the outside has absolutely murdered the cornerback and has a 6-yard gap on him. He throws it in the middle of the field into double coverage to a tight end who's trying to set a pick for the in route, and the ball's intercepted and taken back for a touchdown. Not on the same day he threw 5 interceptions. That was on like July 30th, I think that was.
Mm-hmm.
He's been terrible. And yet we still get Caleb Williams paints his nails. Like, I just think it's hysterical. I honestly think it is so funny that people can't, like Tyler Shook, with all due respect, he's not an NFL quarterback. Who's really surprised that Tyler Shook is absolutely dog?
Nobody. And when they drafted him, we all were like, hey, like what? Why are you drafting him there? Like, that's a weird pick.
I mean, yes. Nathan Peterman. Yes. And then you get all of the haters who are like, oh, Shador's getting cut. He's getting traded. Yeah, they pretty much announced today they're going to keep all 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Active 53-man roster this year. You think that's because he sucks? And by most accounts, and it's all being widely reported, He's clearly been the best quarterback in camp. Clearly been the best quarterback in camp.
Mm-hmm.
He sucks. They're going to cut him. Okay. How many games will Zach Prescott play this year? Zach Prescott.
I mean, I don't know who Zach Prescott is, but, you know.
Is that the starting quarterback at Pitt? Could be. I think you're now, isn't King of Thailand now a Pitt fan, I think? And you have Vikings fans saying, oh, it's just training camp. Well, yeah, it's bad to see a guy throw 5 interceptions in training camp.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was 12 pass attempts. 5 of the first 9 were intercepted. 4 of the 5 went back for touchdowns. I think he completed 3 passes. The entire practice, he completed 3 passes. Like, okay. Oh, you meant Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott.
Gotcha.
Oh, man, dude. I sorry.
Dude, wow.
I probably should have,
Mr. $70 million cap hit next year, that guy.
Unmolested, here's some tape of Jerry Jones.
It's my understanding nothing was put in writing. So how would you describe a deal getting, so to speak, done and then walked away from?
I bought the Dallas Cowboys with a handshake. Took about 30 seconds. And I gave the number, shook hands. The details we worked out later. As a matter of fact, one of the details involved a lot of money, and we had to flip a coin over that. But the fundamental, I'm buying, and you're going to sell it to me for that range, that's done. And those are done with eye contact and handshake.
So is there...
just so you understand why the way that I communicate with people that I negotiate with. So but let's leave it at that. There is no question that in the case of a player contract, you have to have it in writing. All parties do. We have a contract in writing, yet we're still talking about renegotiating it. So much for that.
So what's the sticking point for you right now at this point?
Again, there are no point. There's points of varying degrees of influencing, not having something done, but nothing that I would say is out of the ordinary.
Right, yeah. Nothing's out of the ordinary for Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. Are you buying, Jake, that he's a guy that he's just waiting for the handshake negotiations to take place?
No, I don't buy it at all. I think Jerry's unwilling to pay him. I think that
unwilling.
And this goes all the way back to that Jerry Jones thought it was okay to have Micah in his office one-on-one trying to get him to sign a deal and all this nefarious stuff. And it smacks of, hey, I don't want to pay this guy, and it smacks of, hey, we don't do a good enough job managing our cap, so we have to be in this situation. It just.
You think Jerry Jones does not want to pay Micah Parsons?
I don't think he wants. I don't think he wants to pay Micah Parsons market rate. Wow. I think Jerry Jones wants to do a handshake deal, and I mean, of course, anybody would want Mike on their team, but at what price, right? I mean, the idea that he's like, oh yeah, hey, I bought the Cowboys on a handshake deal and worked out the details later. Excuse me, what you meant to say was, yeah, we did a handshake deal to agree to buy the Cowboys, but then all of it was on paper and we all signed contracts and we all did it on the up and up. That's how deals are done. And I just think Jerry Jones wants to be this guy who's the old guy walking in, who's done a million deals in his life and knows better than everyone.
Listen,
and it's annoying.
I think the Dallas Cowboys have a tragic flaw, and it's that Jerry Jones still breathes air on this earth. And my opinion is Jerry had one really good run in a time in the NFL where it was really easy to buy Super Bowls. It was easy to buy talent. They were terrible when he took that franchise over. He had the ability to draft elite college players. He doesn't have that ability now. He's never been good at handling the salary cap. He's never been good in free agency, whether that is the way he handles his quarterbacks, whether it be Tony Romo, Dak Prescott, how long it takes him to sign a player, the way he handled a guy like Zeke Elliott. Jerry Jones has never been elite at running an NFL franchise. And the thing that I think people forget is that, yes, it's great that your owner has money. It's great that your owner can build a stadium. And he is, by any account, any way you slice it, Jerry Jones is a very good businessman. That does not make Jerry Jones good at building Super Bowl caliber football teams. He's proven that year in and year out. And it's the way he hires coaches, hiring Barry Switzer, not giving a guy like Mike McCarthy every possible chance to win a football game. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion. And if I am a Cowboy fan, my only hope is that Father Time is undefeated. And because he's never selling the team.
No.
And as long as Jerry Jones is alive, he's going to have significant influence on that team. And he is going to continue to alienate guys like Micah Parsons because this is who he is. He's terrible at running a football team. I want him to be the guy that's in charge of financing my football team. I want him to stay out of the general manager's office. Problem is his son is the general manager. I want him to stay out of the player personnel stuff, but Jerry Jones will never do that. Ever will he ever do that?
Yeah, and I just think that it's all hey, I want to be in front of the camera. I want to be, I want the attention. Like that's all he cares about, dude. And it's everything from that press conference like 2 weeks ago to this now. Like, I mean, at what point do we get to a place where Jerry Jones just is like, hey, I'm gonna stay out of this. I'm gonna,
never.
Like it's just so frustrating, dude.
Yeah, talking about Jerry Jones and the Micah Parsons controversy in Dallas. Do you think Micah Parsons plays for them this year? Yeah, because I don't think Jerry's ever going to admit he was wrong. I don't think Micah Parsons has a choice but to play because you're not going to sit out a whole year.
He's not holding out, right? I mean, he doesn't want to incur the fines.
He's holding in, is what I would say. But it's an absolute abomination that anybody would think that Jerry Jones is doing a good job running that team. Monty kicked him out for using his golf clubs. Wait, okay, what did I miss? Why isn't Jake in studio? Because Jake is a dastardly turd who moved to Eugene, Oregon. He's now an Oregon fan, Aaron.
Pack this thing up. We're out of here.
You guys supported him. You guys made it possible. You facilitated Jake's decline into the scumbaggery of being an Oregon Ducks fan. I mean, that's what's happened because you guys made that possible. Isn't that right, Jake?
Man, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, I think it's really tragic because nobody wants to be an Oregon fan. Aaron, Jake moved to Oregon with his girlfriend. Yeah, they live in the woods with a Sasquatch now, And yeah,
length and girth.
Length and girth matters. Absolutely. Monty kicked him out for using golf clubs. Good for him, Aaron Wilson says. I'm so behind the news. You really are, Aaron. You really are. Jake went full duck season. Jake is duck season. That's absolutely what it is. Jake had to see about a girl. Exactly right. Big Pontiff, Brandon Butler, what's up? The value of the Cowboys, in spite of Jera, it's the brand, not the owner. Same thing with the Bulls and the Cubs. Well, Jerry. You guys remember Jerry Springer and the audiences would chant, Jerry, 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 Jerry. Mrs. Monty and I have been to the Jerry Springer show multiple times. I mean, how do you beat that?
I mean, look at how, I want to play this video one more time. Look at how the reporter's like fawning over Jerry Jones and how excited she is to ask. She goes full, my understanding of this really difficult situation that's not difficult to understand is like, come on, dude.
It's my understanding nothing was put in writing. So how would you describe a deal getting, so to speak, done and then walked away from?
I bought the Dallas Cowboys with a handshake. Took about 30 seconds. And I gave the number, shook hands. The details we worked out later. As a matter of fact, one of the details involved a lot of money, and we had to flip a coin over that. But the fundamental, I'm buying, and you're going to sell it to me for that range, that's done. And those are done with eye contact and handshake.
So is there...
So just so you understand why the way that I communicate with people that I negotiate with. So but let's leave it at that. There is no question that in the case of a player contract, you have to have it in writing. All parties do. We have a contract in writing, yet we're still talking about renegotiating it. So much for that.
I just don't, what do you mean we're talking about renegotiating it? This is the CeeDee Lamb issue. This is the Dak Prescott issue. It's not a matter of should you renegotiate it. You need to renegotiate it. You need to save the franchise money, Jera. But the problem is you won't ever admit that you don't know what the hell you're doing. And I think that's why the Dallas Cowboys consistently struggle to do the right things.
Yeah, and it's the same garbage that Cincinnati rolled out with Trey Hendrickson, right? Like,
yes.
Oh man, gosh, it's all on paper, and we're just stuck
Stewart.
on, in Shamar Stewart, like we're just stuck on, the sticking point. Notice Jerry doesn't answer the question. She goes, "Hey, well, what's the sticking point? What are the sticking points?" Well, there's no sticking points. We're just negotiating it, and it's all on. Like, dude, get the hell out of here with your snake oil salesman tactics, dude. Like, we see right through it, man. The reality is Micah Parsons is either going to get paid or he's going to walk. And right now, it's looking more and more likely that he's going to walk. And if he does, by the way, you have Aaron Donald tweeting today that if Micah Parsons winds up on the Rams, he half jokingly, tongue in cheek said he'll unretire so that the three of those dudes can play together.
Well,
like, come on,
trade
bro.
him to my Chicago Bears, dude. Like,
come on, bro.
If you can you imagine? Do you know every franchise wants Micah Parsons, and the Dallas Cowboys are unwilling to give him a contract extension?
Like, you're Jerry Jones. You're supposed to be loaded, all the money in the world. What happened to that, Jerry?
You're never going to see. I am telling you now, you are never going to see a happy or satisfied Micah Parsons there. Aaron Wilson with the point of the day: never go full duck season. Totally agree with that. Gabriel says, for 21 years alive on this earth, if there is one thing that's remained constant in my life, is the Dallas Cowboys becoming the drama-filled housewives of Texas.
Dude,
no doubt about it.
Did I not? I texted you this just the other day. I said, it is literally every year we get the reality TV show known as the Dallas Cowboys in week 1 of training camp.
Yes.
Every single year.
Bryce Martin. What's up, Bryce? Good to see you. Micah has to play, but he really shouldn't. Jerry Jones not wanting to talk to his agent and holding him back room unofficial deal is a scumbag move. It really is a scumbag move, man.
It is.
And it's what's wrong with the NFL. It is absolutely what's wrong with the NFL, and it makes me crazy. Jane Slater is a very good reporter. She breaks quite a few stories in Dallas. She does.
Listen, I'm not saying she sucks. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
why does it have to come down to that?
What I'm saying is she absolutely milked the opportunity to go full sources mode and say, well, what I'm hearing from the situation, like I heard that and I was like, okay, hold on a second. You're not
like Jersey Shore, the situation.
Bro. Like, come on.
She is kind of though, but that's fine. Jerry Jones is using back of the envelope calculations to figure out how much to pay Micah Parsons. Very well could be, James.
Yeah.
Very well could be. Toot pants. Some people worship billionaires as if they're godlike. You're not wrong. What's up to the 84,000 of you watching the show right now? How the heck are you? What's up on TikTok? We are live on TikTok this afternoon. Twitter, YouTube. Make sure you guys all come over to YouTube, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show. If you are watching on Twitter right now, please give us a retweet, give us a like. Make sure you follow my my account, The Monty Show. Maury Alvarez, hello. Gabriel, Jerry Jones is nearly 83. He should not be running a franchise anymore. Well, it's not your age, right? Isn't your capability? I mean, how old are our politicians? And we're really going to talk about Jerry Jones's inability to run a football team? Why is this fiasco still continuing? You know it's bad when there are a portion of Cowboy fans wanting change, dude. You ain't wrong. You are not wrong. Shout out to Aaron Wilson, who gifts 1 Monty Show membership. Hello. I like it. I like it. Aaron, how's the mailman gig going, Aaron? How we doing? Aaron Wilson says, get out of my way, dude. Exactly right. Exactly right. For those of you who don't know, Jake used to play drops on the show where Aaron made a video for us, and he said, get out of my way, dude, because he was trying to win some stuff. You know.
Been a long time.
Ed Enriquez, Jerry Jones to Micah, I only have eyes for you. Exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly right. Bryce Martin, how can you negotiate when you refuse to speak to Micah's agent? I won't take Jerry seriously until he stops talking to the media. Then I'd be scared. Well, there is that. There is that. Maury Alvarez, who's been a member for 31 months.
Damn.
First ever member on the show. Show now coming from Two Holes Basement. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly right. Ed Enriquez says, Micah to the Raiders, Jerry. The Bears. You spelled Bears wrong. It's Bears. The Bears. What happened to rabbit season?
I don't understand that reference. Sorry, brother.
I don't know. Jeremiah, good to see you. The Dallas Cowboys are great. Whoa, I just came back from 96 in my time machine.
Yeah, seriously.
The Dallas Cowboys are not great. Aaron Wilson says, Maury. It's exactly right. Do you guys, Jerry Springer is Jerry Springer underrated as a TV show?
I mean, definitely iconic.
Jerry Springer has to be underrated as a TV show.
I mean,
Did you guys ever watch
like do backflips on the stage? Never got old.
Oh, no. The best show was Maury Povich when he'd do the DNA tests, and you'd have, with all due respect, you would have some carnivore type women up on stage being like, I'm taking everything you got.
Lie detector test determined that was a lie.
You went and tapped ass on the neighbor? Bro, I am taking you for everything. I'm going to take your broken ass Honda Civic. I'm going to take this 1-bedroom, half-bath apartment. I'm taking your entire sock collection, everything. You're done. And then the father would be like, it's not my father. You a hoe. I came home.
You are not.
And then Maury would break out with the DNA test results, and he'd be like, we've sent your DNA out. We've tested baby Spasm Kid and Jimmy.
To see if little Jimmy is your kid.
We have tested Jimmy's DNA to see if little Jabroni is your son. And then he has the big manila envelope, and he opens the manila envelope.
And it's the way he's holding it, too. He holds it by the bottom corner to like have it like really in your face.
And he's like, the results are in.
He's like, let me thumb this out like it's a couple of Benjis real quick.
The results are in. Dun, 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 dun. In the case of 3-year-old Jabroni, Jimmy. You're supposed to play the drop, Jake.
Oh, I bet.
Jimmy.
You are not.
And Jimmy jumps up and he is celebrating. And what does little Camilla do? Oh my God. And Camilla goes running to backstage. I can't believe it. So it turns out you were a hoe, Camilla. I would never.
What?
So if it, well, Camilla, calm down. I'm here to support you, Camilla. And the best part is when Jimmy's done backflipping and celebrating the freedom of his joint and the fact that he is not tied to this woman for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
He goes back there and he's like, I support you, hoe. And then Maury goes back there and he's like, Camilla, I am so sorry this is happening. Do you know who the father is? Well, it could have been Reginald, but there was that one night with Pete, and I was making a living as a lot lizard, so who really knows? But you were so sure, Camilla, because I only loved Jimmy. And then
Lie detector test determined that was a lie.
And then she starts begging Jimmy to stay, and Jimmy's like, nah, man, your sister's got the car warming up on the curb. I'm out. Like, or, right? Or the best one is like Camilla's new boyfriend is there with her. And then the new boyfriend's like, oh, so you that type's a hoe. I'm out too. And then Jimmy and the boyfriend like high five and they walk off the stage. Like, those were just, that was TV. That's when YouTube TV was worth paying for.
Yes. A better time.
Gabriel says lot lizard. Yes.
Yeah, bro.
When the girl comes in with 20 possible fathers and 4 or 5 get tested. And she's down like 4 of the 5 are not the father. And now you have like Slim Pete, who's got the broken glasses with like the tape on the arm to keep them together. And he is wearing Skechers, and where were those cool work pants that everybody used to want? I can't remember what they were called. Oh my God. You know, like the real thick work pants that everybody, Dickies.
Dickies.
Oh yeah. He's got Dickies on and
dude rolls up in Dickies shorts with high white socks and in Timberlands.
Skechers. Absolute Velcro Skechers. And then you're like, oh man, Camilla, how did you end up with Pete and his Skechers? You are not. And then Maury changes the inflection. In the case of 3-year-old jabroni, Pete.
You are not the father.
And it's like, you are not. And the horror show just rolls on.
Dude. Oh my God.
I mean,
dude.
tell me that 9 out of 10 of us weren't rooting for the guy not to be the father. Like, we're not thinking about what's good for the kid. Oh no. We want the man-eating Camilla to be the hoe. So we can
Seriously.
be like, yeah! Right? Because it's like you're rooting for the bull in the bullfight. Right? You are rooting for, in Pamplona, you're rooting for the bulls to catch that guy that slapped it on the ass.
Mhm.
You're rooting for Camilla to be a hoe. Oh, Maury made us such good men. Girl would be about 350 pounds trying to rope a 100-pound skinny and bones guy. No doubt about it. And that's how it always was.
Length and girth.
Right? Like Pete was 110 pounds and Camilla was like 270. She had an Oreo cookie fetish. Like, oh my. And
Sucking
then,
a ding dong.
Oh God. And then it would be like Pete would be like, I am not the father. This is not my child.
This is ridiculous.
And then Maury would be like, okay, well, before we read you the results, and then they put the banner up, results coming in 3 minutes.
Then they play the spot, little Jimmy.
Right? And then they go in, they go into the tearjerker video about Jimmy and his Coke bottle glasses, right? And it's Jimmy, and he's laughing and cooing with the producer because he's not emotionally attached to any woman or man, because frankly, this is about smashing and not about being a good parent. But then the best of the best would be Maury would be like, come back out of the real sentimental piece into Maury, and he'd be like, before we read the results in 2 minutes, let's get Camilla's mom, Beverly, out on stage. Beverly, come on out. And she'd come out and the crowd would be like, Maury, Maury. And they're chanting. And then Beverly comes out on stage. She's got like stage 9 tuberculosis and is coughing everywhere because she's got like a full carton of Virginia Slims in her purse. Right? She's got like she put rollers and curlers in her hair. You might as well call her Judy because she's just a terrible woman. Jimmy, you're a scourge of the earth.
How could you do this?
Camilla's been such a good woman to you, and you went to the club, and then of course you are not the father. And
you are not the father.
It's just so good for the soul to see Camilla get what she deserves.
Maury, oddly enough, look at Maury's last comment right here. Second from the bottom of the stack. That's unapproved language right there, bro.
The small person episode of Jerry were always the best. Dude, the Jerry Springer show was always about who was going to get hit with a flying chair. Right? There was always like hookers and violence. And the worst part about the Jerry Springer show is it'd be some nice young woman named Amy. She'd be wearing a cable knit sweater with a collar. She had a bunch of hairspray in. She's wearing a mini skirt. She's got some pumps on. She's good looking, not hot. Her boyfriend Rodney, though. Rodney wasn't in this game to be with a good looking chick. So Amy would come out and talk about, being surprised because Rodney had been on stage first and he had admitted that he had herpes. And he had admitted that
the biggest load that
he knew he had herpes for like a year because as a truck driver, he never had problems when he'd pull into the Love's truck stop. There was always somebody waiting to help him. And then they'd be like, when we come back from the break, Amy's going to come out and we're going to tell her she's got herpes because Rodney's got herpes. Like it was all, and then the reveal was Amy always got crushed. Amy, welcome to the Jerry Springer Show.
Hi, Jerry.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Jerry, big fan. Love you,
he's
Jerry.
About to get this great news.
Amy, your boyfriend Rodney here, and Jerry would always pause, right? He'd be like, Amy, your boyfriend Rodney here. Pause. You guys are in love, right? You love Rodney? And Jerry was always the finger on the lip guy. You love Rodney, right? Yes, Jerry, he treats me well. He takes good care of me. I've always got bonbons in the freezer when I get home from the supermarket. I after a tough day of like ringing out customers. Well, Amy, that's great. And you seem perfect. Rodney has a confession because after all, this is Confessions of the Asshole Boyfriend right here on the Jerry Springer Show. And then Rodney would be like, Amy, you know I love you, right? Oh, yeah, I love you too, babe. Just tell me, what is it? Did you sleep with my sister? Well, I did that too, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Honey, I have herpes. And then the best part is he'd be like, and I know I'm on the road a lot. I was just lonely and I'm so sorry. And she'd be like, oh, I'm crushed. But I have a secret to tell you too. And Jerry,
it's like a million times worse of a secret.
And then Jerry slides back in and is like, let's bring out Steve, who is Rodney's best friend. Steve, come on out. And Steve would come out. And it turns out Steve has herpes too. And he got it from Rodney because he was smashing with Amy. And like then Steve and Rodney were throwing chairs at each other and it was violence.
Dude.
It's just what TV should be about.
And his name is John C.
And it was always, well, that's okay, Rodney, baby, because I got a secret too. I get that. Brother. And yes, I have herpes and Steve has herpes because you had herpes, but that's not the secret I wanted to tell you. I'm actually pregnant with triplets from Steve. And then the best part is Steve would be like, I have a secret to tell. That's not true because I got a vasectomy like 2 years ago.
Oh, panic alert.
Uh-oh.
Brother.
It just keeps going. Yes, loaner phone, family programming in the 90s. Toot Pants, woman on Jerry Springer Show. I love James. He always has chocolate for me when I come home from Walmart. A Walmart manager bomb. Oh my God, that's so good. That is so good. I cannot tell you.
Well, honey, I was on the road in the Honda Civic, and I had a real tough time this one night in Waco with the wolf.
With the wolf in Waco. It's just awesome, dude. Jerry
Wolf
Springer,
of Wall Street.
Dude, that you were able to fold in Oak State James to Jerry Springer.
Incredible.
Wife discovers husband's secret family. Oh my God, remember those? Pam and Ted have been in love. They've been married.
That's the natural reaction, though. We all know it's trash TV, but they'll be like, wife discovers husband's secret family. Whoa!
On the next Maury Povich. Or the worst was, it was this Cash Me Outside girl. You're like Dr. Phil took trash TV to the new level.
Dude.
You guys remember some of the Dr. Phil stuff?
Oh my
God. Like it just incredible. Bro, yes, the Klan versus, oh my God, do you guys remember the David Duke? Oh my God, so many. Oh, you guys, and this is the problem with millennials. You guys will never understand the greatness of the Klan on Jerry Springer. You'll just never understand what 90s TV was. And quite literally, rest your soul, Jerry Springer, who died recently. But man, live like an angel, die like a devil. Got a place in hell reserved for me. Well, there you go, man. Like,
You know,
I'm just telling you guys, 90s trashy TV was so incredibly good. It was so incredibly good. I mean, it's not as good as throwing sex toys on the court in the WNBA. No, that's a true story. I'm not kidding. Can somebody explain this to me? Is this what we do now as men? Because you know this is a man doing this. You know this is a man doing this. And I know Wasikowski's here, so he's going to say, fake news, they're woke. But when you go to CNN, fake news, Monty. When you go to CNN, you do not expect to see headlines that you would expect to see on the Jerry Springer show. Another sex toy thrown onto the WNBA court, this time appears to hit Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham. Because, of course, it hits Sophie Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jake didn't do his job today, so we don't have Sophie Cunningham talking about getting hit with the dill. But I can only tell you, Sophie Cunningham on this story has been amazing. She does a podcast with some bro I've never heard of. And it's amazing. But the idea that we are, and it's not like they're just, I don't know how to say this. They're reminiscent of a man's shape, conservatively. And they're bright green. There was one that was fluorescent pink. What are we doing? First of all, is this funny? Yeah, it's funny. I don't care. I don't care if you throw a sex toy on the steeple during church service. A sex toy anywhere is funny. It's not funny though. Like it's just this continued, like, how is Sophie Cunningham in the middle of everything WNBA?
Because she's the poster child right now. She's the person that they're pushing. You know, this new podcast, and just like her and Caitlin Clark's relationship, and like all this stuff. Like she is the one they're pushing. That's why she got targeted on some level. Like that's why.
Do you think that she got targeted?
I mean, a little bit, but she's on the record saying she thought it was funny, but was concerned that it would hit someone in the face, which would obviously would not be ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she is the one. It seems like right now, Sophie Cunningham is the one that is in the middle of all of this stuff. And for the life of me, I will never understand it. And by the way, if you search sex toy WNBA, her picture comes up.
Mm-hmm.
You do with that what you will. But I just think it is wild to me that here we are in 2025 and we can't go to a WNBA game without seeing a sex toy. I don't know. It just doesn't.
I mean, I think that, yeah. I mean, look, she's obviously really hot, really attractive. Very much a token child for the WNBA, no question about it. And I think that I listen. This is humanity, bro. Like let's stop being.
This is humanity.
Let's stop being holier than thou. This is what people do now. We do these terrible things, and
this is not humanity.
Apparently it is.
No,
apparently
it's not.
It is.
This is not cool. This is in theory, it's comical. It's not funny, man. Like it is. I don't know how altogether dangerous it is. And even Sophie Cunningham kind of, like with her tweet,
mm-hmm.
It's funny to an extent, but we continue to be in this place where we're okay sexualizing women as long as it's funny now. Because that's what this feels like. Yes, I'm old man, get off my porch. I understand I just probably took this somewhere nobody wanted to go. But isn't that what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Does
on some
Sophie
level.
Sophie Cunningham care that she's being sexualized? I'm going to say that her pregame outfit walk-ups say she does not.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I feel like
what I feel like with this story is that it feels like every time the WNBA comes up, it's one of two things. It's drama of some kind, dildos, t-shirts, some type of
So you moved to Eugene now and you have no filter on your language.
Well, nobody else has a filter on their language.
I
mean,
said dill and sex toy.
Yeah, whatever. I mean,
I'm going to break you off a tree limb.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the problem with the WNBA is we're hearing about is sex toys, t-shirts. We're never hearing about the great play or unless it's Caitlin Clark. If it's Caitlin Clark, if she's on everyone's TV, we're looking at the 3-ball and all that. and if it's not, then we're not really concerned about who it is, unless it's Sophie Cunningham on a new podcast that just got manufactured out of the blue for really no reason at all other than she's marketable.
Yeah, I guess so. I just feel like it's not one of those things where I think we should be. I don't know that we should be joking about it. I guess that's what it comes down to. I feel like we.
But what is there to be done about it? This is the thing. Obviously they caught one of the people. They haven't caught them all yet, but they caught the first person allegedly. They have that person in custody.
Yeah, and it's coming from people who are sitting in really nice seats.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is not being thrown from the upper deck, right? It's just weird to me, but it's fine. One of the ladies grabbed it and went straight to the locker room and never returned. Oh, stop! Come on, man. Prefer watching octopus being thrown. But somebody help me understand, why throw an octopus on the ice? I've never quite understood that.
Yeah.
Right. Who picked up the sex toy off the floor and how did they hold it after it was picked up?
This is what we do. See, this is my point.
I get it. And it is illegal. Yes, it is a crime. You throwing anything on the floor is illegal. Never understood the octopus thing either. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't. Chad Perling, hello. WNBA punishment. Come on. We just can't be serious about it, can we? I guess that's who we are.
Yeah.
Which is fine. All right. Let's get to our prize picks today. I lost. Okay, great. It has not been a good 3-play run for me on prize picks.
Right.
Thought it would be a good idea to double down today.
Mm-hmm.
Can go wrong. I'm going to take the Cubs. Cubs won. What could be worse than the Cubs winning? Well, the issue becomes that you not necessarily pick the Cubs to lose, but you pick the pitcher who had thrown 11 scoreless innings against those Cubs to strike a bunch of MFers out. 5 Cubs to strike out. He struck out 3. Then you take Kyle Schwarber to give you 2 hits, runs, and RBIs. He gives you nothing. But of course, Cade Horton, the pitcher you've never heard of, who is dominating baseball right now for the Cubs, 6 Ks, 1 for 3. And then there is that ridiculousness last night. Because, again, I deserve better. Can anybody explain to me why Cody Bellinger has a hole in his bat? Why is he up at the plate? Did you guys see he didn't have a hole in his bat. He just swung and missed all the time.
Right.
2 of 3, Shota Imanaga. Shota! 7 strikeouts. Shohei Ohtani, 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He gave me 5. That's called chicken dinner, winning.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're going to have to try and double down today. Although I probably should sit this one out because, frankly, it's not been good. It's not been good if we're being honest, but we do have Phoenix and Indiana tomorrow night in the dub. So maybe tomorrow we do some WNBA prize picking. Right?
Maybe.
Jake, you were 3 for 3 last night.
Yeah, I've been on a nice little run here. 3 for 3 last night. Last night's winnings were Garrett Crochet, more than 7 Ks. He had 8. Yu Darvish, more than 4.5 Ks. He had 5. And, the great gambler, more than 1.5 hits on a demon, and he had 2. So, nice run there. Nice run.
That's not good. When Jake is winning and you're losing, you're not good at Prize Picks.
Right.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Make sure you download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, Monty, to open up a new Prize Picks account. You deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more in plays instantly. Instantly. So you can play the entire football season on $55 in plays in your Prize Picks app. Dude, that's what they're giving you. Hook it up right now. Don't wait for football season to get here. The pennant race in baseball, frankly, today ended a 8-game cashing streak for me, an 8-play cashing streak. It's been a minute. What was it? It's been 3 straight plays that I have not cashed 3 for 3.
Yeah, it gets a little rough out there.
It does. But hey, you know what? I mean, we're living in the big city here. We're all grown men, right? Download the Prize Picks app. Trust me, guys, it's amazing. DM me your plays. Let's get a group going. A whole bunch of listeners on the show already play. And I appreciate that. That's the crazy better mentality. Bet against your team, and now you're still happy because they won. Well, you know. I mean, it is what it is. Boring baseball talk really pisses me off. Well, there's other shows to listen to.
Yeah, God forbid we wouldn't talk about Victor AJ DeBanza for 2 seconds.
I don't know what Big Daddy Magic your deal has been lately, but you have just been like
obtuse.
You've been such a red ass lately. Like it amazes me that you can't just get along to get along. Like, how often do we talk baseball on this show? Once a show, maybe for 5 minutes. And you're going to put a comment in where you're complaining. Okay, cool. There are other shows, my guy. Yeah, chill, dude.
Yeah.
Chill. I'm amazed. Gabriel says maybe it's the summer heat. I don't know. There's like, I am not going to talk NBA on August 6th when we have tons of great football going on. Like, yeah, that's exactly right. People who don't have baseball teams call it boring.
Couldn't agree more.
That's exactly right. Listen, and I will say this about the Cubs, man. I live and die with the Cubs. I watch the Cubs every single day. We have a huge series with St. Louis this weekend. We have a huge series with the Brewers coming up. I will watch every pitch of those series. I cannot wait. And for me, I love baseball. Oh, and it turns out it's my show, so I get to talk about baseball if I want to.
Not that hard to understand, bro.
I don't understand why, if it's not interesting to you, turn it off. Right? We've got 84,000 people watching the show right now. It's not interesting to you, turn it off.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt my feelings. It's not personal, right? I mean, and Big Daddy Magic, I don't know where you went. I don't know what happened to you. You get all upset. You like, nobody gets more run on this show than you, and yet you're bitching and moaning about a 3-minute baseball segment.
And I have to say, this isn't the first time we've seen somebody, as a cool kid, say crash out and get all pissy. It's like it's like the stardom got to you or something.
Damn right. Your show, talk about what you want. We can tune out if we want.
Yeah, it's not that hard to understand.
All 84,185 of you that are here today. We really appreciate that. Gabriel, there's nothing to talk about in the NBA. What is there to talk about? Jokic crying because his horse won?
I will say, it was funny to see him crying over the horse racing and not caring at all about winning an NBA championship.
And I would also like to say there's not a chance in the world that dude's retiring to go do horse racing. Like,
no.
Stop.
No.
Stop. It's so ridiculous that's where we're going. Like, just spar down, Skippy. Right? Like, what are you doing? Like, what on earth are you doing?
What he loves to do.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess so. But it is what it is. Why are you... Speaking of my show, I have 6 people who have DM'd me about things I've said on the show. Why? And comment on the show, man.
Hey, there's this little thing on the right called a comment section.
It's wild to me. It is wild to me. But it's fine. It's fine. It's good. All right. BDN. Whoa. Mike Smith, I don't care for baseball or hockey. They spend the majority of time on football, so deal with like.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying. Nick W, love the show, gentlemen. Keep up the great work and screw the haters. Yeah, it's all good.
Well, and again, I just want to. He's not a hater. He just
BDM's a friend of the program.
Yeah, he just is.
Right?
I'm gonna guess. Let me be nice for 2 seconds. I'm gonna guess that BDM, you're dealing with something or something, you're struggling with something or whatever it might be.
Because he sent me videos. He sent me a video today at 1 o'clock.
Oh, he did. Oh, he did.
Hey, player. $29.99, the WWE is going to the ESPN app. Now, for the $29.99,
who's really surprised it's pro wrestling?
Try to watch NFL, maybe the NFL Sunday ticket on the ESPN app.
Nope.
All right. I need the all-knowing Marty on this one.
No, you can watch WWE. The official partner of the. They announced that today that WWE is all in on ESPN. But you're not getting Sunday ticket on ESPN. That's just not how that works. To me anyway. But it's fine. BDM, not a fan of baseball, golf, or tennis, but this is a sports show, and honestly, the more it expands, the better. Hockey, anyone? I love hockey.
Hey, we talked hockey during the playoffs.
We did. We talked a lot of hockey.
Yeah.
I have not watched wrestling since WCW. Woo! Monday Night Wars. It went downhill after that. Totally agree. We're in the exact same place. Stormy Cyclone. Every P4 team is exploring options. It's just good business. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into some non-sports because it is 5:30 on the Monty Show. Remember our guy, Hope for Curie. HopeForCurie.org, you guys. We really need to continue to push for this because I'm thrilled. I know a lot of you have donated to the GoFundMe, and it's up to $52,718. And I appreciate all of you on this show who went and donated to the GoFundMe. Thank you. If you don't know who Curie is, he's a 3-year-old here in Holiday, Utah, in the greater Salt Lake area that's got a pretty serious brain disease. And the only way to elongate his life is through a bone marrow transplant. The problem is finding a matching bone marrow candidate is less than a needle in a haystack. Less than a needle in a haystack. And it's really tough. It is very difficult. And I know that sounds like a big, scary process. If that's something you want to explore, hopeforcurie.org. This kid needs it or he's going to die, period. End of story. They have an enormous amount of medical bills. There's a GoFundMe link on the website. And listen, if you don't want to donate marrow, if you don't want to donate to GoFundMe, please just do me a favor. 84,225 of you, do me a favor and just go to their website. Just go read the story. You don't have to donate. Just go read the story. At least spend some of your time investing in this 3-year-old, if only to pay him that respect, because it is a seriously uphill fight for this kid, and he's 3 years old, and it's just crushing. So I ask you, take a few minutes to think about that. Take a few minutes to do that. And if it's in your heart and it's in your wallet, donate $5 to his cause. That would be fantastic. It makes a huge difference in his life. If you have a chance, that would be amazing. And let's see what we can do for him. I can't imagine being 3 years old and just having no ability probably to even comprehend what's happening to you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you're too young at that point to even know.
That's the worst part, is that he doesn't even have an understanding. And maybe we're thankful for this, right? He doesn't have an understanding of what he's losing in this life. And it just makes me like, just sitting here saying that. He's 3 years old and has no idea what marriage is. He has no idea what having kids is, what hoping for and praying for and building a life and earning your way through this world is like. That's tough. So if you have a few minutes, just consider going and just enjoy the website. Just enjoy it and read his story. And if that's where you leave it, great. I would appreciate your 5 minutes doing that. And if you want to donate, please do. All right, let's talk about, I don't know. How about good guys winning? How about good guys winning? How about a situation where finally in this world, and I don't think Jake has any idea about this story. How about finally in this world, we get justice. We get justice for the little guy. I'm really playing this up. This is a buffalo. Now, unbeknownst to me, people like this guy hunt these buffalo. And when I say hunt, they stand a good distance away and they shoot the buffalo or the elk or the mountain lion. And then they go running, in some cases half a mile to go find the thing that they shot from all that distance. Now, occasionally, the good guys win. And today, I'm here to tell you the story of the buffalo beating the hunter.
Let's go.
This gent right here is 52-year-old Asher Watkins of Dallas, Texas, a multi-millionaire who was on a hunt on a safari in Africa when he was struck and gored by a charging Cape Buffalo bull, killing him instantly. Watkins, who frequently shared photos of birds and animals that he had killed, unfortunately was on the wrong end of this one. And to that I say, let's
Karma,
hear it
bro.
for the good guys. There are a lot better ways to die than getting run over by a buffalo and gored by a buffalo. But I'm a guy that's going to tell you, nah, bro. If you want to go out and you want to hunt, and this particular multimillionaire who was sent to the afterlife by a large Cape buffalo, who they have nicknamed Black Death, by the way, who apparently lived up to that name today.
Apparently.
This hunter guy says that he hunted because it's his passion and he's trying to preserve wildlife. Okay, I'm sure that's true. So you're hunting to preserve wildlife on a reservation, doing a safari with a rifle, a long barrel, and a scope when things went horribly wrong. I'm not a big fan of this. I am never the guy who's going to be this guy. I'm never the guy who's going to be this guy. And I know I'm never going to be this guy running into this guy because I am not going to shoot a buffalo and then have it run me over and gore me.
Yeah, here, let me be the douche. So let me get this right. You have a rifle and a scope, and somehow, some way, this buffalo still ran your ass over.
He did.
How does that happen, dude? How did come
for
on.
Context? The buffalo is 1.3 tons. I said 1.3 tons of buffalo ran you over. The trip reportedly cost $10,000. Quote, "It's with deep sadness and heavy hearts we confirm the tragic death of our client and friend Asher Watkins," said Hunter Hans Vermaak of CV Safaris. He was tracking it together with one of our professional hunters and one of our trackers. This is a devastating incident, and our hearts go out to his loved ones. And I say, I don't feel bad for you.
How is it that a group of, quote, professional hunters and trackers allowed this to happen? What do you mean you had guns and the animal has no defense and you died. What are you talking about, dude?
Well, apparently the animal does have a defense.
Like, I just don't understand this. Like, you have this, and I love this about hunters. Oh, we're going to go on this hunt in this safari, and oh, we're tracking the animal, right? But here's the deal with that. Here's the deal. There's no advantage to the animal. You have to mess it up in order for anything to happen. So, like, come on, dude.
Look at this thing. This is what killed him? Bro.
Like, come on.
And I'm the one that
sit here and feel sorry for you.
I'm the one that cheers the bull at bullfights.
Come on.
I'm the one that when we're in Pamplona, you know, I'm the one that cheers for the running of the bulls. So
yeah, I don't know. I just I'm not anti-hunter per se, but what I am is anti. I am anti. Hey, animal is in a small space, and you have a gun, and you're just essentially shooting fish in a barrel. In other words,
and I want people to understand. I don't necessarily hate like deer hunting. Deer hunting is critically important. Like when you think about conservation, you think about the landscape, you think about deer hunting is critically important. Going to a safari reservation to kill these animals is not hunting.
No.
That is murder, in my opinion. And you're going where these animals are purposely contained. And granted, it's a large swath of land, but you're not doing conservation work. You're not doing things to preserve the landscape, to preserve the ecosystem, to save human lives. You're not doing that. And that's the part that bothers me so much. So it just is what it is. Gabriel, it's upsetting. I truly hope his message gets spread out and people can help share the message, dude. And I encourage you guys, please go to hopeforkiri.org and just read. Don't if you can't take action, I totally get it. Cargo pants. Indeed. Yes, cargo pants. That is correct. And I'm not sitting here saying that he's a bad guy. I'm just telling you, I think the good guys won this time.
Agreed.
Obviously, Monty has never gone hunting. Completely not true. When I was a young chap, I was taking deer hunting, and I hated it. And I would never go back. I hated it. One of the funny things is that I watched an uncle of mine shoot a rather large deer. It was probably larger because I was a kid, and I hated it. And they loved it, and I didn't understand it. Mike Smith, hunting deer to help thin the overpopulation was also providing meat for families. Good. Killing a mountain lion in order to save your farm animals. Good. This one, not so much. And I think when you look at what Mike's talking about, like killing a mountain lion to save your farm, totally get that. Killing coyotes to save your chickens, totally get that. But this is you paying over $10,000 to go hunt animals that are essentially kept in an area for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't.
That's
feel
not
so
hunting.
good.
That's not hunting. That's just called
target
rolling up
practice.
and shooting. Yeah.
Yeah. Fat Jesus, which is the worst way to die? Gored by a buffalo or drowning in a box while looking for the Titanic? Did you guys
gored by a buffalo?
Oh my God. No, I think I would.
They
the
died.
Worst way to die is
the
Titans. Oh, but dude, they knew they were in trouble. The Titan submersible. Did you guys see the Coast Guard deemed it like complete incompetence? Poorly constructed, wrong materials. Everything that this jackwagon who designed and built and drove the Titan submersible project, they said, yeah, no, this is total BS.
Yeah.
And I'd rather this guy on the water buffalo or buffalo that got run over and gored died instantly. You can't tell me that those dudes sitting in the Titan submersible, hearing the popping until they probably just barely heard the last pop and then they were gone. That's brutal. Nah, bro. Wasakowski, as someone who grew up in a hunting family, there's a difference between trophy hunting and conservation. Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
No, Perling. I was okay with hunting. However, I always liked fishing more. Hard for me to sit still and be quiet while hunting. I can imagine. I don't mind sport fishing. But I think sport fishing is a skill.
Yeah, you're in the open ocean, bro.
Gabriel, I'm so surprised there isn't more lawsuits flying out from the Titan disaster, dude. There's quite a few of them. Why are we obsessed with the Titanic? Help me understand that. I have no desire to go and see it's a boat that sank. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's the boat. I think people want to say that they drove down to it or they, submersed down to it. They're there for the adventure and the adrenaline rush that is being at the bottom of the ocean.
Okay. Maury Alvarez says I missed his paid comment. Don't DM me. You guys, I hate Maury for that show. Growing up was your name is like Maury Povich. He has always been the worst. Well, I can imagine that. It does, you guys. It drives me crazy that you guys DM me. I hate it during the show. And I don't want to close my DMs.
Mm-hmm.
I probably should. I don't read them on Twitter, frankly. It's just not. I think it's a wasteland of stupidity. But I actually read my DMs on TikTok. And I get notified when I get DMs from Instagram. And it's like, I get it. You paid for a comment, which I would have gotten to before the show ended. And I apologize. I missed your DM. People get so upset.
So uppity about paid comments, bro.
And I get it. You paid your comment. You want it read. I get it. What truly ticks me off is that a kid died because of that nonsense. Yeah. And yeah, I'll never understand the whole Titanic thing. I never understood the movie. I never understood why people want to go down in that wreckage, and I'll never understand it.
Well, the movie I can understand. It's just an entertainment. You want to make money, but risking your life to go and see a sunken ship is a little extreme, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just
in doing it on that when you knew it wasn't constructed well, because I don't care what anyone says. You look at that, like all those little signs we talked about, storing it outside, the materials, all that stuff.
And I think about somebody like Maury Alvarez. He's got kids. Like Maury Alvarez paying and taking his kids on that Titan submersible. Why would you that's what a father did. A father took his son and went on that Titan submersible. And I'm like, dude, what were you thinking? 19, in my opinion, is still a kid. That dude had his life ahead of him, and that happened. Yeah. I don't
totally.
Angelo says, great point. Utahns and Nevadans hunt for meat to feed their families, but hunting for sport is pathetic. It really is. Listen, Davy Crockett, I get it. I totally understand. If you raise chickens, and people always make this comparison. Well, what is raising chickens then? Okay, raising chickens is an industry. People raise chickens professionally to feed their family. If you're a cattle farmer, you raise that cattle to feed your family. If you have to shoot a coyote who's coming for your chickens, I don't have any problem with that. What I don't like is when you put animals in a captive area and you take out a long barrel and you shoot them and you call it some great victory. It wasn't a great victory, in my opinion. Always found the Mel Fisher treasure hunting stuff more interesting. Okay. John Hamm, I'm not a hunter, but I understand why it needs to be done, and also how many people in Africa this type of hunting supports. It's an economy that is needed there. Plus, in many cases, it is needed. I just don't buy that.
No.
I guess I just disagree. It's a Cray ROV. Underwater drones get crushed most all the time. They would go down there. let alone a homemade submarine. You can make it in a garage is stupid. Totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree. 100%. What do you guys think of this story? Did you guys hear this story? China has a kill switch, allegedly, for our power grid in the United States. A cybersecurity expert, cybersecurity expert pop up. God, stupid New York Times. A cybersecurity expert has delivered a chilling alert that China represents the greatest technological threat to Western countries, possessing the ability to trigger a, quote, kill switch on America's power grid at will. The United States has initiated numerous probes into Chinese-made technology, with various investigations revealing malicious, mysterious computer codes that can remotely trigger to disable critical infrastructure, including natural gas pipelines in the power grid. Jake, do you buy it?
I mean, I think that there's something to, online hacker guy being able to do things. I think that's just the world we live in. But I'm not going to sit here and just universally or across the board agree that China can just turn off our power grid. I think the thing that we have to remember is if you were to pull a move like that, the consequences of that move against you would be, astronomical. So I think whether they do or don't, I don't know, but I would be shocked.
So you don't believe it.
I don't buy that they just have it's being characterized as a kill switch, the ability to hit a switch and all the power turns off in the country.
I think what it sounds like is it sounds like the Chinese can deploy malware that will turn off our gas pipelines and our power grid.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. I mean, I don't know. I think those are threats that we have to consider, right? I mean, it would be foolish to not think, hey, well, there's danger coming across the internet, essentially, right? I mean, because that's the thing. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, this is like, hanging out in the background. Like they've got it to a point where they could negotiate with it, or they could, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's that far.
I don't think it's practical that you could turn out the lights on everybody. I don't think that's true. Do I think, knowing a little bit about energy in this country and how power and gas work, do I believe that they could turn off certain metropolises? Yes. There are certain states, counties, and cities in this country that have antiquated power grids that are run on DOS computers. It's crazy how antiquated some of our electricity in this country is. Places like most of California, you'd never be able to do that. Certain parts of Texas, you'd absolutely be able to do that. But places like Chicago, not possible. New York, not possible. Washington, D.C., not possible. Now, you want to talk about natural gas pipeline? Absolutely possible. Absolutely possible, because natural gas pipeline is 100% computer. It's all run on computer. Oil pipelines, I think you probably could do that. Although you look at the oil conglomerate in this country has spent billions on infrastructure to prevent it. So we'll never know how advanced or unadvanced the oil side is. I think natural gas right now.
Yeah.
We're going to see. Let's see. Wasikowski also forgot, but how does Monty feel about Stern getting canceled? Well, his show didn't get canceled. Turned out that was a complete hoax. They're negotiating a contract, and Howard only wants to work 2 weeks a month, as it turns out. He wants to retire. But Sirius essentially has said, and they've been quite in both sides, it's bullshit when both sides are quiet. Howard wants to retire. He's not somebody he openly talks about it on his show. But I love the people who are like, oh, this is Colbert. He's getting what comes to him. Do you guys understand that Howard Stern is the single largest, not close, it is by far the single largest subscriber motor that SiriusXM has and has ever had. Followed and it's by like 10 million behind is the NFL. Because you can get every NFL game, every professional game, really, but NFL subscriptions trail Howard by like 10 million. Howard Stern is the single biggest subscription driver SiriusXM has and has ever had. And all these idiots are like, oh, well, he's just Colbert getting no. Turns out he's not. He's not CBS folding to Donald Trump. Did anybody every time Donald Trump gets a win in a lawsuit, it turns into a loss. Did you guys see that? Never mind. Rupert Murdoch agreed to update Donald Trump's legal team on his health on a monthly basis until he gives a deposition. And he only did that so that he could delay giving his deposition until his lawsuit is, they have that other big lawsuit pending.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump is suing the Wall Street Journal over the factual reporting, but it turns out he's not even arguing whether or not it's true or not true about the drawing and the letter to Jeffrey Epstein. He only wanted to force a retraction out of Rupert Murdoch by making him give a deposition 3 weeks into the lawsuit being filed, which he filed in Florida in a judge that he appointed. So they thought they had this aha moment where they were like, oh, we're going to get you. And Rupert Murdoch said, well, my health isn't great right now, so I want an extension. And so they said, okay, but then you have to report your health status to us every month. Gotcha. Rupert Murdoch was like, all right, cool, great, thanks. It's going to be like 6 months, 8 months before I can testify. Here's a note from my doctor. So they were to push this deposition off. But as far as Howard Stern goes, in no way, shape, or form has SiriusXM canceled the Howard Stern show.
No.
And
they can't afford to, bro. I mean, he's too much of their pie.
I don't know that they can't afford to. I think we all know that end is coming. Howard Stern has more money than God.
Yeah, but they're still going to play his content even when he retires. I mean, it's not the same as doing a live show.
But that's the thing that I think people are trying to figure out right now, which is if Howard retires, and this has always been why he has not retired, by the way, who owns his audio archive? SiriusXM or Howard Stern? That's what they're negotiating. I think Howard wants to retire. I have no doubt. I've listened to Howard for 30 years. He wants to retire. The thing that all these crazy folks who are like, oh, he's getting what he deserves because he's too political and he hates Trump. Well, if that were the case, why didn't they just fire him the way they fired Colbert? Because I think there's no question CBS fired Stephen Colbert to bow down to President Trump as part of that lawsuit settlement. I don't think there's any doubt about it. So if that were the case, why didn't SiriusXM do the same thing? Because it's Howard Stern. And the moment, and I canceled my Sirius subscription already, by the way. We talked about this yesterday on the show.
Yeah.
But you know how many people would do that?
A lot, man. A lot.
Lopes fan Gabe, a member for 31 months. Gabe, good to see you. Is popcorn a chip? Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. Good to see you, Lopes fan Gabe. If they did cancel Stern, they would lose millions of subscribers. Pure silence. It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely it is.
100%.
So I don't think there's any doubt that the show is coming to an end, but he's talked about his show ending for a year, more than a year. So,
I mean, I just think you can't tell me that they're like this whole concept of like who owns his audio library. There has to be a negotiating for just like a fee on that, like because Sirius is going to want to continue to play that for, another decade at least. I'm not even exaggerating.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's really interesting to see how all this plays out. I think it is fascinating.
Yeah.
to see how much money they're going to have to pay him to keep his library.
Yeah.
So, because depending on who you believe, he owns it in his contract. But it's not like Howard's trying to go back to radio. I love that. People are like, oh, he's trying to save NPR. No, he's not. No, he's not. I think he wants to retire. The guy is in his 60s, I think, or something. And he's quite literally worth $1 billion. Like it's not even close. I think, no, Eric, it was not. This has been proven a complete fallacy. Dude, you've got to do more than read and listen to just the conservative media outlets. It is not, God, bro, I love talking football with you, but you're crazy. Like, if you just go and read, if you look at what the facts are, Colbert's show is the number 1 rated show at 11:30 Eastern. And the Trump supporters were saying that it was losing $40 million a year. You're not the number 1 rated show in late night. To math that out, it's not the number 1 rated show in late night losing $40 million a year.
Yeah.
Right. And you start to look at how things played. His Nielsen ratings, just searching Colbert ratings, he averages 2.4 million viewers for the first half of this year. Everybody said nobody's watching that show. 2.4 million people per episode watching that show. And nobody's watching Colbert. Nobody's watching Colbert.
Come on, bro.
When you have Jimmy Kimmel at 1.8 and you have The Late Show on NBC with 1.2, he's doubling their ratings, man. Like, it's not all, and everybody's saying, well, his ratings are way down. Late night television ratings are down. Not nearly as many people, because again, how many of us are actually watching TV like that anymore?
We're not.
I'm not. Right. And CBS would neither confirm nor deny that his show was actually profitable. But, and this is Media Watchdog, by the way, Media Watchdog says that it would be logistically impossible for Colbert's show to be in the red. Yeah. So I think you've got to, I encourage guys like Wasikowski, and you've got to get your news from multiple sources so that you can find the truth in the middle. It is inexplicable that, and this was my big talking point on Epstein, my big talking point on bombing Iran. And Wasikowski always now says, oh, well, you said it was starting World War III. We never said that. What I said was it was clear from day one that they didn't decimate anything in Iran. That the bombing in Iran was twofold, we now know. A distraction from the Epstein list and his attempt to threaten people to stop buying oil from Russia, which has failed miserably, because now we got new tariffs on India today. And why did Donald Trump levy those tariffs? What did I tell you yesterday? And I think Wasikowski, you told me that I just don't know what I'm talking about. Why did he say he leveled those tariffs today? Because India is buying Russian oil and not using it. It's not like India is buying Russia's oil and putting it into refineries and turning it into petroleum products. They are stockpiling it. And who else is doing that? Iran, China, and India. All three of them have. China and Iran, or China and India, have massive tariffs. And Iran is economically continues to be crippled. And then you look at like the OPEC thing, and Eric, I've been telling you this for how long? His original deal before he left office, that deal he made with OPEC to screw Biden, has completely backfired in his face, because did anybody see what happened? Hey, gas prices continue to creep up. Refineries, rig platforms, drilling in this country, flatline. And why is that? Because if you are an oil and gas company in the United States, you will lose money right now building rigs and drilling for more oil, because OPEC just keeps churning out more and more oil. In September, they will begin producing 550,000 more barrels a day. Why would you do that when there are massive stockpiles across the globe? Oh, because those stockpiles are Russian oil. They're not OPEC oil. So, like, you look at, if we have all this oil in the marketplace, and this is what people don't want to understand, we have all this oil in the marketplace, why are gas prices going up? Have you guys asked yourself that question? What happens when we have a ton of extra oil? Gas prices go down. Gas prices are not going down. There is something at play behind the scenes. Oh, I know what it is. Donald Trump said today he's meeting in person with Vladimir Putin. All of a sudden, we went from because Donald Trump has been telling Russia and Putin, and the war, we're going to cripple you, and the war, and it's tariffs like you've never seen, and the war, and it's sanctions like you've never seen. No tariffs, no sanctions. No offensive, and the war, we're going to give them all of our offensive weapons. No offensive weapons. And now today, all of a sudden, hey, we're going to meet. President Trump is telling people he's meeting with Vladimir Putin next week. I mean, at some point, you've got to figure out how to stop this. You mark my words, I'll say it again on August 6th that at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Tariffs have always decimated North American economies. It's why for decades and decades, no president would use tariffs like this. It's what I'm going to keep telling you. You want to drop the Fed rate? You got to remove the tariffs. Oh, you don't want to do that. And what he's doing is with these tariffs, and I think we're in this situation, and for those of you who know, it's all on Google. Go read it. He can't pay for the big, beautiful bill without the tariffs. But who's really paying those tariffs? And the billions of dollars that they say they're bringing in. Let's be very clear how tariffs work. We put a tariff on a country. When their goods come into our country, that tariff is paid and it goes to the U.S. government. And everybody's like, yeah, that's what Donald said. He's completely right. Okay. But who's paying that tariff? Because it's not the guy who's selling that product. It is you. It is me. It is why when you're looking at the price of food, anybody notice that our farm exports are way down? Anybody notice our food cut? Did you do what I told you to do? Go look at the price of beef right now. Anybody want to talk about why the price of beef is so incredibly high? Anybody want to talk about Donald Trump the other day? Did you guys like this thing with California that I've been telling you about? Donald Trump quite literally said yesterday, I believe it was, that he opened up the water flow from the Pacific Northwest down to California, and he's preventing California from dumping that water into the Pacific. First of all, there is no such thing as a water pipeline from the PNW to Southern California. That does not exist. And California was never dumping a water pipeline into the Pacific Ocean to save smelt. Do you guys understand that that's complete fallacy and it's made up? And all of this because he doesn't want to talk about the Epstein list. So we're paying tariffs as people. And he is like this thing on India today. I don't know how long he can keep those tariffs in place because it's absolutely decimating to e-commerce in this country. Trust me, I know firsthand. It's decimating to retail. It is you want to look at somebody who's pissed? Anybody been listening to the UAW? Remember, Eric? I'm almost certain you and I had a huge argument about unions during election season. Anybody paying attention to the fact that the unions are just being devastated by these tariffs on steel? Anybody notice that the one thing he has not put a tariff on, and it was announced last Monday, that he was going to lower the tariff on computer chips and chipsets from China. 47 senators bought NVIDIA stock the day before he announced that. Made a ton of money. He announces it, NVIDIA stock went straight up. Like, you guys, these tariffs are nothing more than a game.
Yeah.
They're nothing more than a game. And I think when we start looking at how on earth we get through this probably 3-month period where the tariffs are going to be incredibly high, I have no idea. Don't start talking about approval. Did you guys? Oh my God. He got absolutely torched on CNBC the other day. Did you guys see that? He's going on about how his approval ratings are the highest in the history of American government. He said the other day, and then he doubled down on CNN. He said the other day, his approval ratings with all Americans are as high as any president has ever had in the history of American government for his first 6 months, which could not be for, I think he's in the 30s now. I think I was reading this morning that his approval rating is like 38% now. And he's telling people that he has the highest approval ratings for any president in the history of America for the first 6 months. And it's just simply not true. It is simply not true. It's 39%, excuse me. He told CNBC, and this is what happens when you go on a credible news source. He goes on CNBC the other morning and says he won every election by a landslide, that he has the most votes ever by any president in the history of the country. And then he was informed he lost all of, like, I mean, what are we doing?
Living in our own little world.
Yeah. He's delusional. And we're talking about a guy who is supposedly running this country. And he's talking about how the tariff revenue is the highest and it's breaking records. And he's talking about how he has no deficit. And that's just not true, you guys. And 19% approval rating for the left is why I should listen to him. Nobody said to listen to Eric, stop with the left and the right and start being an American. Because, for instance, the shit going on in Texas with the Texas Democrats. Oh, this is treasonous and we're going to arrest them. And Donald Trump talking about how he's going to empower the FBI to arrest these Democrats. They are breaking no law and you have no lever to pull to make them go back to Texas. The Texas House Democrats left the state so that the Republicans can't gerrymander 5 more seats in the House come the midterms. And they're like, oh, well, they did that. The Democrats did this in 2022. Do you guys understand that the Democrats put a bill forward to permanently ban redistricting for the purpose of adding seats? Every Democrat voted for that. Every Republican voted against that. It's just not true. And so when you have a president who's saying, hey, we're going to arrest, I'm going to send the FBI to gather and arrest all these Democrats and expedite them back to Texas. He has no law that can have him do that. And
yet here we are.
We're all sitting here like, because this game with the tariffs are a great example of all you're doing is this shell game to try and pay for the big, beautiful bill. And there's no way to pay for it because who's suffering?
Us.
We're all suffering for it. We are all paying more gas. We are all paying more food. We are all paying more cost of goods. I'm somebody that works in the e-commerce space, and trust me, I was sourcing products this morning. And what's the first thing that people tell you in India? I was talking to a supplier in India. Tariffs will raise the price of this item $4.09. So I'm paying the tariff. But I thought India was paying the tariff. They're not. We are. And Eric, I hope at some point, it's stuff like this comment right here. I hope at some point that you find an outlet where you can go back and forth. What are you guys talking about? Japan? Japan shouldn't have touched our boats, Mike Smith. Come on. Like, it's crazy. Anyone smart with a computer can find a way to stream a sports game for free. Well, yeah, but that's not what you should be doing. That's not what you should be doing. Charlie, true, and nobody is going to malls anymore. Everyone I know buys everything online, and it's killing us. It's just killing us, dude. Like, it is so, it just, man. Randy writing, gerrymandering has been a game played by both parties for decades. Anyone that doesn't believe that's a fool. It is a tool that is used, but that's why I think it needs to be illegal. Outlaw it. I'm like this Gavin Newsom thing where he's talking about if Texas does that, we're going to do it in California. And Gavin Newsom actually can gerrymander Democrats to 100% saturation in California. If he wanted to do that, he could do that. But you should outlaw it so no governor can do that. So no state house can do that. Americans need to be able to decide elections.
Yeah.
And we're not deciding elections. Gabriel, you know how bad it is, Monty? I work at Publix and everyone complains about food prices. Even people who wear MAGA hats do, because food is outrageous right now. I am somebody that I've always paid more for food because I eat a pretty decent quality of food. I can't even afford it anymore. It's helping me not eat meat because the only thing I can in good conscience pay for is ground turkey. Everything else is just,
super expensive.
Yeah. It and the cost of energy in this country, you guys, look at your electrical bills. Look at your gas bill. Look at your oil bill. Look at your heating bill this winter. Like, it is just so crazy. So crazy. Maury Alvarez. The suppliers are paying the tariffs, but they're passing the difference back to us. Yes, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Junk food is cheaper than healthy food, and even junk food is getting expensive.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. I don't drink soda. I haven't had a soda in over a decade. I was walking through the grocery store the other night looking at soda prices.
It's ridiculous.
Good night. The Monty Show is always presented by our friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. Jake, always good to see you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We're going to try ending the show this way. Since Jake doesn't have a fade to black button. Say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye.
Until tomorrow.